Careful what you wish for. The Toronto Raptors, in a crazy, crazy twist of events, they draw the Cleveland Cavaliers. Some of you are very, very happy that I don't have to live through the next 2 weeks of probably the worst told you so's in my life as Knicks fans come in here and troll every single chat saying, "Didn't you say Scotty Barnes was going to be better than Jalen Brunson? Take it." So I want to personally thank Luca Garza for saving me from that outcome. However, I do want to caution Raptor fans who are victory lapping a little too early. This Cleveland Cavaliers team is a lot better than you think it is. And there was a reason that I was low key hoping that the Toronto Raptors would fall to 6 and end up going against the New York Knicks because I actually think the Cavaliers are a better team than the Knicks. And I think Donovan Mitchell is a much harder matchup for the Toronto Raptors than Jalen Brunson. So this is kind of just where I'm at with this. And of course, Nuff said, "Oh, shut up, dude." Hey, man, we'll see. We will see. However, can we pour one out for the Orlando Magic, who walked into a game with their full roster against the G League Celtics? Okay, and this is all respect to Ron Harper Jr. and, Raptors legend Delano Banton and Baylor Shireman and Luca Garza. But on what planet did you ever see the Orlando Magic trying with full force and losing that game? Shout outs to Paolo Banchero, man. Paolo Banchero basically sealed the Raptors' fate and handed the Raptors the 5th seed. The Raptors secure 5th seed. However, there was a game. And it wasn't necessarily all that emblematic. I'm not sitting here saying like, Scotty Barnes had a triple-double. Take it, suck it. Nope, none of that. I do, however, want to say I don't think the Raptors necessarily win this game by 30, 35, or even 15 if Scotty doesn't do what he did in this game. And the Raptors came out very early, and I think there was a lot of processing errors with this team in the first quarter. They weren't up nearly as much as you would like them to. There was a lot of struggle with Emmanuel Quickley, Jakob Poeltl, I think RJ Barrett as well. And Scotty was just kind of table setting for everybody. He just wanted to get everybody open shots. He wanted to get Jakob Poeltl going. He wanted to get everyone. Scotty is such a point guard, in his mind. But sheesh. Somewhere in that second quarter, you started to feel like that. I really hope these guys are dramatically better in a week from now, because some of the stuff that we saw tonight just looked really bad. The Raptors got out rebounded. There was a scheme in which Jakob Poeltl inevitably found himself 25 feet from the basket, getting crossed up, having his soul snatched by Ben Seraph. What are we doing? I think Darko Rajakovic wants to coach Jakob Poeltl for the rest of his life, because at this point, the way you're making this guy look right now, the way you're playing him on this game, and Colin Murray-Boyles, who has been such a beacon of hope for the Toronto Raptors, he picked up a lot of foul trouble very quickly. Let's take a look at this game, and we'll take a look at very brief film on this game. The Brooklyn Nets started Ben Seraph, Drake Powell, Malachi Smith, EJ Liddell, and Trevon Scott. Off the bench, they brought in Jalen Wilson, Chaney Johnson, and Tyson Etienne. So bad was this that the man on the graphic, Ochai Agbaji, didn't even play. Day'Ron Sharpe, one of my favorite centers in the NBA, did not play. Nick Claxton, no play. They had a hardship exception, which allowed them to renew a 10-day contract because they're so depleted by injuries. I mean, really, what was the point? What was the point of this game in very serious ways? The fact that the Raptors had to play Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes even remotely close to the minutes that they did, 30-plus minutes for Ingram and Barnes, is a testament to just how butt cheeks some of the players played tonight. I don't think the Raptors brought the right intensity. And it's weird to say that. You won by 35. What do you want? Why do I constantly have to criticize the Toronto Raptors for not blowing out the Nets early and often? There's no reason that this team should be in a game with you. There's no reason that Ben Seraph should be, going. Josh Dimitri saying Christ is risen. Yes, it is Easter Sunday for me and for people who are, of Orthodox faith. So shout outs to you guys. That being said, wow. Shout outs to Brandon Ingram, 25 points, and RJ Barrett with 26 points tonight. Both guys got it going, got to the line. got out in transition. Shout outs to Scotty Barnes. Like, what an incredible playmaking masterclass. A couple of those assists were absolutely fugazi. But yo, how many of those beautiful assists did his teammates just smoke at the rim? Or did he pass to a wide open dunker and that dunker just decided, nah, I'm going to pass it off to a guy who's inevitably going to smoke a layup? Scotty could have had like 22 assists tonight if he just had like slightly more assertive finishers at the rim. But nevertheless, I really like this game from Scotty. Super efficient, 8 for 11, didn't break a sweat really, got a bunch of blocks. He got 3 blocks. He should have had 4 blocks, if we're being honest. He should have had 4 blocks. One of those blocks was credited as a steal to Brandon Ingram for some reason. But nevertheless, or wasn't it? What? No steals for Brandon Ingram. What happened here? I thought he had 4 blocks tonight. But nevertheless, 12 defensive rebounds. And once again, 0 offensive rebounds for Scotty Barnes. I promise you some of these rebounds are just falling into his lap. He remains ground bound for the most part. For the most part. Yeah, he got a couple dunks, but he got barely off the ground for those dunks. Scotty is saving his legs for the playoffs, and we're going to need it. And if there's one perhaps bonus, um, you know, the Raptors versus the Cavaliers, you draw this matchup, is that Scotty Barnes historically has done very, very well against Evan Mobley and the Cavaliers in general. So once again, Scotty goes back to the playoffs. The team around him has completely changed. Not a single player remains from that initial roster. The entire roster has been rebuilt around him. But one thing does not change. You're still facing James Harden. So fun. Jakob Poeltl, again, 5 for 5. I thought he had an awful game. It's weird to say that a guy who didn't miss a single shot from the field had an awful game, but he was totally compromised defensively. He did do his best. You have to credit a guy for going out there and even pushing through this. But at this point, I'm just like, what are you hoping to do? What are you hoping to accomplish? Is this something you're trying to do? Just isolating Jakob Poeltl on quick twitch guards and seeing if they won't cross him up? I think it's just probably not in his wheelhouse right now to be able to play like this. Off the bench, we do get a very, very good performance from Jacoby Walter, who, shout outs to Jacoby, becomes the youngest player in Raptors history. That's not a joke. The youngest player in Raptors history and the first since Norman Powell to average over 40% from 3. That's crazy. He is 21 years old. This guy is a shooter. So that's awesome for him. He's just above 40%. I think it's like 40.2% after tonight's game. So that's really great for him. He becomes the 15th Raptor to ever do it. We're going back all the way to like 1996. Like, we're talking like Tracy Murray, okay? All of Raptors history, there's only been 15 players. We've played over 30 years. We have only 15 players. So this does not happen every day for the Raptors. So shout out to Jacoby Walter. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come for Jacoby. Another player who I really loved off the bench was AJ Lawson. He was plus 10 in his 11 minutes. And shout outs to AJ Lawson. Just got converted to a full contract, the 15th roster spot. He ends up securing that over Elijah Martin. And that means that he will be playoff eligible. And honestly, with the way this team is going, with the way Grady Dick has played, I think you might want to keep that one on ice. So AJ Lawson might actually play some serious actual playoff minutes at some point for this team. In terms of garbage time, like what really stood out to me. Okay, wait, first, Emmanuel Quickley, disaster class. Just hated this game entirely. He's obviously battling through something. He sat out the entire second half, and I think the Raptors were much better off for it. In a game that you won by 35, he was plus 7 in his 17 minutes. It just didn't look good. It didn't look good with the ball going through him. It didn't look great. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like it tonight from him. I thought a little bit too much ball dominance, poor processing, inability to extend advantages, inability to generate advantages, inability to beat his man off the dribble. I mean, one of your theoretical advantages, at least, is that you should be able to mismatch James Harden on the perimeter, given that he's 37 years old and a little bit slow. But the processing disadvantage that you have with Emmanuel Quickley makes that somewhat impossible. And one thing I will say, though, Emmanuel Quickley has been much better as a team defender lately. So at the very least, he's not bleeding points on that end. He's competitive. He gets on the ball a little bit, but his help in the gaps and his overall system defense, team defense has been very good. However, it's just so obvious to me that this team looks a lot better with Jacoby Walter out there. So I wonder if Emmanuel Quickley continues to struggle, if Emmanuel Quickley has injury issues, if the Raptors wouldn't consider starting Scotty at the one and, just having him match up with James Harden, I think you can get away with it if you start Jacoby at the two and have him guard, Donovan Mitchell. It's not like either Donovan Mitchell or James Harden are necessarily like prototypical point guards. And obviously, this would be a non-starter if you had someone like Darius Garland, but with a slow, grindy kind of point guard like James Harden, I really think you can get away with Scotty Barnes starting at the one, and I think the offense would just be so much better. But that being said, the shooting, right? So at this point, if Emmanuel Quickley can't shoot, if Emmanuel Quickley can't, if he can't extend, if he can't run a break, if he can't find advantages, if he can't shoot properly, if he can't make open catch and shoots, like he's really hurting you out there more than anything because Jacoby does bring you a little bit more of a dimension and size on defense. So overall, not the most impressive thing. I did love garbage time. So first of all, like garbage time for Trace Jackson Davis, shout outs to him, man. He has not played well since his first game with the Raptors. And Trace really brought it in garbage time. We are so used to garbage time minutes being losses for Raptor fans. Like, I mean, we're talking like the last 20 games. Every single time the starters build up a 25-point lead, Darko puts in the bench, boom, it goes to 15. Not tonight. I think the starters checked out. We were up 30, 31. And then in comes the bench, or in comes the third stringers, and boom goes the dynamite. Trace Jackson Davis just decides to be a bully. And who knows, man? Jaden saying Carter Bryant monster slam on Jokic. I can't wait to check out that game right after this. We're going to have the entire playoffs tomorrow. I want to just let our members know. I know we're having a lot of member chats right now. Our post game. I'm off of coffee right now, guys. I'm off of coffee, so my brain is scrambling. Usually when I get off of coffee, things get very, very good in about 3 days. But those 3 days getting through the withdrawals is usually really hard. But usually after 3 days, my brain just completely resets, and it's usually amazing. What was I going to say? Whoa, 500 viewers. Yeah, man. Let's get it. Let's get ready for the playoffs. I love it. Look, I'm excited. Whether I think the Cavaliers or the Knicks are a better team is irrelevant. The point is the Raptors are in the playoffs. They are the 5th seed. And they've done it. They've done something really incredible. And I really mentioned this in yesterday's live, which I felt was from a very passionate and honest place, which is we really do need to understand that Rome was not built overnight. Okay. Scotty reiterated this message right at the, at the end of the game where he said, look, we're not a finished product. We're getting better every single day. Everyone has said we're getting better every single day. Daryl asking for the call-in link. I forgot to put the call-in link. Me. This is the lack of coffee. Hold on. Let me just throw the call-in link in the chat, and we'll get into the film session briefly. Okay. Let's go. Okay. So first of all, this tweet. Okay. This tweet made me very unpopular in New York. I understand that some people, even the most diehard Raptor fans, think I'm insane for saying this. But yes, in terms of two-way impact, I did think that Scotty was going to bring that level of intensity and effort. That doesn't mean I would have picked the Raptors to beat the Knicks in the first round. That just means I think Scotty was really going to show up in a way that I don't think Jalen Brunson was going to match. And people were very upset. However, now that the Raptors are not facing the Knicks and I don't have to get my comeuppance, I just want to send a message to those Knicks fans.
Gonna wild out and it's gonna do something crazy. Everybody want to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Okay, so we got that out of the way. Okay, so let's start with this. This was written before the game, so. Yeah, this was never going to be particularly close, in my opinion. Let's go. Speaking of those passes from Scotty, this is the bullet shit. Look, the playoffs, what are the playoffs? A lot of what the playoffs come down to is problem solving. You got a problem, how are you going to solve it? And the speed of problem solving is a really big thing in basketball. Here you have Brandon Ingram, fake pass to Jakob Poeltl, And Scotty Barnes, as soon as he receives this pass, it's like in his hands, it's out of his hands. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming, right? Now, we'll talk about how much Scotty's passing maybe can decline with defensive aggression, and we'll definitely talk about that. And I think did I list the call-in link? Hold on. Here, let me put the call-in link again. Having short-term amnesia right now. Okay. Okay. Does Scotty Barnes have the absolute worst whistle in the NBA? This foul right here was committed. That referee right there, staring right at it. He's looking at the referee. Number 9 is looking like the most guilty SOB on earth right now. Like, I didn't touch him. I didn't touch him. Bro thinks what does he think he is? Does he think he's the Undertaker in like this is SummerSlam? He's about to choke slam the man. What is he doing? That is a choke slam. Okay? That is a WWE move, and it needs to be banned from the NBA. What are we doing here? Okay. I hate to say it, but I am worried about Jakob Poeltl. Okay? Now, when Darko Rajakovic took over this job, he had this idea that Jakob Poeltl could be used like Domantas Sabonis, and I kind of just winced a little bit. I was like, uh-oh. Does he know? Does he know that Jakob Poeltl is not that dude as a passer? Apparently, he didn't know. Watch this. Now, this is obviously not a pass that you want to throw to Brandon Ingram here. It just goes right into the other team's hands. And then, of course, this, you can't really blame Jakob for this too much, but I got to tell you, as a coach, you have to make an adjustment. He's been getting beat on the perimeter for weeks now. To have him playing this up, by the way, on a guy who can't shoot. Pensare is not a good shooter. There's no reason whatsoever for anybody to guard Pensare like this, other than humiliation. Are you trying to humiliate your players? Are you trying to motivate them to get into better shape? Are you trying to motivate Jakob Poeltl to do some sort of CrossFit situation? Because other than that, other than a kink for humiliation, there is absolutely no reason that Jakob Poeltl needs to be hugging up this close with no rim protection behind him on Pensare. Who does he think he is? Teams don't even play Scotty Barnes this close. Like, I think it's bad. Okay. Now, once again, not to nitpick this, but this is the type of situation that Immanuel Quickley finds himself in a lot because he has a lot of speed, like raw speed. He's a fast player. But here, instead of cutting through the defense, which is probably what a point guard should do or try to get a paint touch, Quickley staggers. He stops. He stops short. I don't know why he stops. It's a bad habit. It's something that clearly, this is just neurological at this point. We need to work on this. But he stops. But unlike someone who stops like a LaMelo Ball to stop for a trailer to cut through the rim, he's not stopping because he has a better plan. He's stopping because he's run out of options and he doesn't know what to do. And so now he's going to test it again. And this time, once again, he has no idea what he's doing. You're going right into the help. I mean, if you have any common sense here, any person is thinking, I'm going middle. So why would you go this way? You're going right into the help. So now you get cut off. So now you go back. Now Brandon Ingram is going to cut into space and say, okay, we got 14 seconds on the clock. We've let Immanuel Quickley do, whatever he's going to do here. Let me just give it to him. And this is exactly how you need to do it. You draw the second defender and then boom. I have been very, very impressed with Brandon Ingram's passing of late. He wasn't a great passer for most of the season. Let's just be honest. He's been kind of dribbling to some double teams himself. He's been kind of high-hipped. He's been really, really high-handled. He's been really, really slow to process the court, but he's gotten so much better. So maybe, again, last year, Brandon Ingram, pretty good passer with the New Orleans Pelicans. This year, not so much. So my view on this is he just needed probably half a season to get acclimated to his teammates. And now he is basically who he's always been. And Brandon Ingram being a good passer unlocks a completely different wrinkle because most teams are going to send a double. This is very important. I said here that I don't think Scotty Barnes likes PENSARE very much. So let's see how Scotty is guarding PENSARE. He is also very high on him. Why? Because they want to take away the real estate to avoid him getting downhill. Do they think he's Denny Avdia? Like, there's really, I want to be clear. This is the worst player in the NBA. Like, he's one of them. He's probably one of the 4 worst players in the NBA that's actually played minutes this year. He has been god awful. Now, is it possible the rookie got better? Yes. Yeah. Is it possible he had the game like a game from the heavens? Possibly. Perhaps he was chosen to have a great game today. I don't know. But what I will say is there's really no reason to be guarding this player like he's this kind of guy, other than maybe training. Like, maybe you're looking at it from a training perspective. Hey, we want to get better on our rotation, so we're going to guard this guy like he's actual superstar. This pass was crazy. Now, again, CMB did not really have a very great game. Here, the pass goes in from Scotty to CMB. It gets picked off, but somehow through the deflection, it ends up in Jacoby Walter's hands. As Jacoby is coming down, he processes that AJ Lawson is in the corner. And without a moment's hesitation, with 11 seconds on the clock, so this is not, he kind of just, he sends it a little bit wrong. But here, the and one, and when I say a little bit wrong, it's a little off target. You typically don't want to have the shooter move into it. But good job by AJ Lawson taking that. That was great, man. And here we go. Another Magic Johnson moment for Scotty Barnes in what seems like a season full of these Magic Johnson moments. And once again on PENSARE. And here comes Jalen Wilson, that second defender. And the second that second defender comes, the rim protector does not recover. And there's your RJ Barrett rim, rim finish. And again, to people who are often quick to complain about why doesn't Scotty Barnes average 21 points? Count up the number of times he passed up a wide open look to give somebody an even more wide open look. Having your big, like, I don't think people really understand this. Scotty understands that your teammates need touches to be activated. His goal right now is to make sure that his teammates are activated. Activated means they're touching the leather. He's already touching the leather. He's bringing the ball up the court. He played a lot of point guard today. So making sure that Jakob Poeltl gets his touches, making sure that RJ Barrett feels good and motivated, that gives these guys a little bit of fuel on defense. You can see when Jakob Poeltl is involved on offense, he plays better on defense. When RJ Barrett is scoring, he plays better on defense. Scotty intuitively understands this about his teammates. And so when he has a look under the basket, he doesn't need to dunk it on PENSARE. He can just give it to Jakob Poeltl, and Jakob Poeltl can dunk it, or Jakob Poeltl can get a layup, or RJ Barrett can get a free throw line, or maybe like a free throw line extended, jumper or something like that. And it's a good quality. It's a good quality to have, to be selfless. It's a good quality to have to, want your teammates to actually get the ball. And I'm absolutely convinced that if the Raptors actually found a way at some point over the next year to find a traditional point guard, like someone who actually understood how to get people involved, that Scotty's assist numbers would go down to 5 and his scoring would go up to 23. But until that happens, he has to fill in the gap. And it's perhaps his greatest gift, going right back to Monverde, is he is a chameleon as a basketball player. If you need playmaking, he's going to give you playmaking. You need defense, he's going to give you defense. The only thing that I would say is, before you judge Scotty Barnes' offensive potential as a scorer, how about finding him a roster that has a sufficient amount of playmaking and defense so he doesn't have to do that, right? Kawhi Leonard is not worried about, has Ben Mathurin got his touches? He has Darius Garland. Evan Mobley is not sitting there worrying about, anything but the defense. So that's kind of where I'm looking at this from. It's, there's so many opportunities in today's game where Scotty could have stat padded, got 33, 35, 38, 40, 42. It's not hard to get 42 against this team. There's nobody who can guard him at all. At all. If he wants to go full force and get 45, he can get 45. But what is the goal of this? The goal is to win a championship. The goal is to build better teammates. The goal is to have your teammates excited to come into practice. The goal is to get your teammates energized on defense. So I really do think that if you understand basketball from a point guard's vantage point, you're really going to appreciate Scotty Barnes. And before we get to Professor Pixel, I do want to give a moment to Scotty Barnes. And this was Scotty's post game.
Scotty you knew the stakes going in tonight. Win and you clinch a playoff spot. How does it feel to accomplish something you guys set out from day one?
It feels good. That was our aspirations for the year. To know we did it, you know, we can have our minds stop thinking about it a little bit. You know, it's kind of hard to sleep, but it's a big relief.
Scotty, 46 wins with 16 better than last season. Where has this group seen the biggest part of improvement, I suppose, from game one to now?
We're improving each and every single day. Every game, every practice, we're still improving. We're not at our potential yet on what we want to be, but you know, we're just gonna keep improving, keep getting better each and every single day. Keep getting better in every aspect. You know, we're still growing.
You guys.
I think that needs to be framed and referred to very often, regardless of what happens in the next 2 weeks. Now, I'm not starting to temper expectations and say, hey, if we disappoint, let's grade on a curve. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, understand that this is a very young team. This is going to be one of the youngest teams in the playoffs. They're deeply inexperienced. Scotty has 4 games of playoff experience. Brandon Ingram has 10 games. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley have very few games. And Jakob Poeltl, as a starter, has 7 games of playoff experience. You may look at this team and say it's a bunch of 20-something-year-olds, but they're very playoff inexperienced. That moment is going to hit you, and it's going to hit you in a way that it's not going to hit Donovan Mitchell. I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that James Harden has played more playoff games than the entire Raptors starting lineup combined. That experience matters, but the way you get experience is by going through it. So that's all I'll say is, you know, definitely temper those expectations and pray for the best.
Personally, a little taste of the playoffs in your rookie year. Now, 4 years later, you're looked at as a leader. What's your message to this crowd and to your teammates on the road ahead?
I miss the environment. I can't wait to see the energy that this building is going to bring. It's going to be amazing.
You can hear the Scotty chants already, Scotty. They're excited to watch you in the postseason. Congratulations, you're back in the playoffs.
Thank you. I love these people.
He never misses a chance to let Toronto know how much he loves Toronto. I appreciate that. Professor Pixel, what is up, man?
Hey. First of all, can you hear me okay?
I can. And you were a little bit pixelated, so you're really living up to your, you're living up to your nickname.
Just wanted to show off my new mic.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's why I called in.
You called in to show off your new mic. That's great. What kind?
That's
what
basically
kind of mic?
No. I called in to test the new mic. Yeah, it's an Alibaba special, so you never know how these things go. They might be great, they might not.
It's hit or miss with Alibaba.
It is. Yep. Hoping this is a hit.
How much was it?
About $60.
That's awesome, man. That's great.
I know. No. Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
I've been doing a lot of recordings for my business, and I was just using the worst, cheapest possible mic that you could ever get. It was like a $12 to $15 mic, and I was like, I'm not going to spend more on a mic. This is good enough. And then finally, I was like, nope, it's time to splurge.
Next time you have a few shekels, you might want to invest in a new Wi-Fi router.
I'm at work. I use Wi-Fi hotspot from my phone. I don't even have Wi-Fi here.
Oh, that's crazy. What'd you think of the game, man?
Yeah. Well, I mean, was it ever in doubt? No. I was more interested actually in the Boston game, the Boston-Orlando game. Boston rested every single one of their starters, and I was nervous.
You were nervous.
But, wow. I was nervous. I should not have been nervous. I should have remembered what Orlando is. Oh, man.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, like I mean, I honestly cannot believe like what I watched. Like it was among the most ridiculous. Like you would think Orlando just tanked.
Like, I can't believe that they were actually playing for something in this game. Like they looked like they weren't playing for anything in this game, but they were. They were playing for what, 7th?
They were. And now they have to go on the road and face, that's tough, man. That's very tough.
Yeah. They have to face who? Philly? No.
Yes, they have to face Philly, and now they're going to be on the road. And you can look at this bravado, but to me, if the Raptors had done this, can you imagine this fan base? Can you imagine what
Yeah.
this fan base would have done? They might have shipped the team.
Yeah, that would have been
Unbelievable.
brutal. Yep.
Yeah, I just wanna show people the box score from that game, just in case, people want a reminder
Mm.
of what a true
Who-
franchise player does. Unbelievable.
In case people want a reminder, who almost never plays for the Celtics.
Oh my goodness. Like 27 points for Luka Garza, 27 points for Ron Harper Jr., and
Yeah.
30 points for Baylor, Larry Bird
Yeah.
Shireman. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell was this game, man? And I like Jordan Walsh. I like Max
Yeah.
Shulgo, but like these were, and Delano Banton's
Yep.
sucked. Like Amari Williams and Delano Banton basically nearly cost him the game. And yeah, that's just crazy to me. I don't know how to explain it, but like, yeah, they were so much better when Luka Garza was on the court. And yeah, him hitting that three. Okay, so here's a fun fact. There's a I don't know exactly what it is, but there's like a shooting feedback tracking thing that goes across the NBA, and it tracks players in practice, and it tracks how many players. And I think it might be the same machine that the Raptors have. It might be, maybe. And it actually gave feedback last year that Luka Garza took the most jump shots out of any player in the NBA in practice. That he was like just, and people just kind of glossed it over. But I kind of found it as a mental note, and I'm gonna actually go check out like what the hell the source of that was, just to make sure I'm not losing my mind. But that was just such an obscure thing, and I was just like, man, Luka Garza is a really hard worker. And I mean, like, it makes sense. He was a great collegiate player. People thought he had no future in the NBA at all because he's slow-footed and this and that. The Boston Celtics probably looked at that and they were just like, you know what? This guy works really hard. And this year, he's been a rotation player for a close to 60 win team. So, I mean, that's nuts. Yeah. The Christian's calling in. Christian, would love to hear from you, but your device is not connected, dude. It says your device is not connected, or none of your devices are connected. Anyways, yeah, like I really don't know what to say about this game. This game is, I think the word is flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted. I'm genuinely shocked that this is what it came down to.
Yeah, no kidding. But as far as the Raptors game goes, yeah, I mean, I guess theoretically they could have lost to Brooklyn, but Brooklyn made absolutely sure that they didn't play their good players like Ochai Agbaji.
Oh my god!
I mean, Ochai was too good to play in this game. Like they could not risk winning this game.
They genuinely had nothing to gain or lose by losing or winning. Like nothing to gain at all. So like I don't understand this tank job at all.
It was it's wild.
There's really nothing to gain from this. Like you're locked. Indiana was not going to beat Detroit. Detroit actually played some of their starters tonight. Like granted, they didn't play them a lot. Cade played every single player played 22 minutes in the starting lineup. I guess that was the minute cap. And then they had their regulars come in the game, like Isaiah Stewart. Like Indiana was not going to win this game. They could have played everybody, but they played nobody. They didn't want to take any risks at all. So in a lot of ways, like Ibrahim saying Detroit was going for 60 wins, Penn. Sure, I understand. 60 wins. It could matter, but does it really matter? Like from the grand scheme of things, like what are you really playing for? You're playing for 60 wins because you want to be a 60-win team, and I get it. But at the end of the day, like what are you actually playing for? You're not playing for seeding. You locked up number one a long time ago. Maybe you're playing for finals record. But who has 60 wins over in the West? I know that San Antonio and OKC have already clipped 60 wins. So whether you I'm just saying from a seeding perspective, there's nothing to gain or lose. Yeah, exactly. You weren't going to catch San Antonio, and Boston wasn't going to catch you. So again, from my perspective, like what happened with Grady Dick today could happen to literally anybody. That fall that he took in the fourth quarter, where he kind of came up and did the splits, that could have happened to Scotty Barnes or Brandon Ingram. It could have been it could have been a season-ending thing. And at that point, you really don't know. And honestly, the reason that I say that is not because I am necessarily paranoid. It's because I am aware that when you have a whole bunch of scrappy players on the other side who are not playing for anything, sometimes they're a little bit dangerous. Okay. So
I
you
could
don't know.
not believe Scotty was still in the game like in the fourth quarter. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the Raptors just really didn't want to lose this game, but it's like,
Yeah.
if Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram need to play 32 minutes for you to not lose this game, you deserve to lose this game.
Maybe this game was Sean Marks's thank you for like a free Dennis Schroeder.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the way the Raptors started out this game, I shudder to think what would have happened if Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe played. It's weird to say that and then also have the online bravado to go and like troll Knicks fans and say y'all are going to be in trouble. You know, it's a really weird thing, but I think anyone can lose to anyone in the NBA, and I think that's pretty much the case. But yeah. Anyways, do you have any closing thoughts, final thoughts?
No, I'm excited for the maybe 10% boost in the Raptors' chance of winning a game now that we're facing Cleveland instead of New York. I'm not excited to face Cleveland. I think that they're really good. I would not want to bet against Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs. I think that the Raptors are going to get in foul trouble because of James Harden. And I think that the Raptors do not play well when they're in foul trouble, especially it's when their stars are in foul trouble. I think that the silver lining in all of this is that Scotty Barnes is going to get a front row seat in how to be a free throw merchant from James Harden. And that could potentially help his entire career because, man, that guy needs to learn how to draw fouls. I mean, complaining to the refs is not the way to draw fouls. It's by watching James Harden and what he does that draws fouls. I think footwork is part of it, but I also think mentality is part of it too. So, I mean,
yeah, Scotty bumps into contact and then doesn't extend through the contact, whereas James Harden plays through contact off 2 feet, and he has like an exceptional way of embellishing contact by like flopping.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, his body language screams, "I've been fouled."
Yeah, like I think if Scotty wants to take like a note from James Harden, foul so that the person in the 5th row can see it. That's the way to do it. So make sure it's loud, you know, make sure you scream, make sure you flail, make sure you do the theatrics. But honestly, one of the best things I love about Scotty is a very ethical hooper. So I'm not really sure I'm ready for the Scotty Bates 30 fouls a game, gimmick. And also smaller, slender, slighter players who have a little bit more fluidity tend to always get more fouls. I've always seen that Shaq got fouled like 100 times a game. They didn't call it every single time. I think part of the reason they didn't call it was just because he was bad free throw shooter, and probably it was just the refs had empathy for the players who had to guard him, But anyways, like I think some of the fouls that Scotty gets are absolutely ridiculous, and that choke slam bullshit that happened today was an egregious example. Yeah. All right, Professor Pixel, good luck in the playoffs. Let's we'll be doing like a week of content. We'll definitely take some call-ins and stuff. We'll do season previews. It's going to be fun. But now that we're doing the Cavaliers, the members live that I had scheduled for today is totally pointless because everything was going to be about the Knicks. Right? It was all about the Knicks. It was matchup data, analytics, and I'm like, So to the members out there, members live postponed until tomorrow so I can do all the work tonight for the Cavaliers. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
Are you going to be doing a lot of lives this week, or are you going to kind of take it easy, take a break?
I think it would be good to do a season reflection, regardless of playoff implications or whatever. Just kind of like to break down on what we saw this year from this team, what they accomplished, what they can accomplish. Do a matchup, scenario with the Cavaliers. Do a Cavaliers film study. I think there's 5 lives right there. Yeah, so easily.
Perfect.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
See you, man. See ya. Thanks a lot for calling in. And good stuff with the mic. Christian, what's up, man? Nice to hear from you. Long time no talk.
Rob,
what's good?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can't hear you all of a sudden. Hold on. Like I could just hear you perfectly just a moment ago when you were speaking with Daryl. Now I can't hear you all of a sudden.
Oh, that's weird. You want to try calling in again? You can't hear me.
Could I try to leave and come back, I guess?
Yes. All right. I'm trying to talk to a guy who's telling me he can't hear me. This is how decaffeinated my brain is. Okay. Um, Mula Meech saying, Pen, I know this is a Raptor space. Will you cover the Tempos draft? Yes. And if they leave Flage on the board at 6 and pass on Flage, you're going to see a live crash out, the likes of which you have never seen before. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to pretend that I am going to be like some WNBA expert right now. Like, honestly, I watch enough WNBA to cover it, I think, to some extent, but not to the depth that I would be comfortable saying, like, they're wrong for drafting. No, I actually trust the Tempo leadership a lot. Andrew Raptor saying Tempo are making some solid moves. I personally think they're overpaying a little bit, but we'll see how the other contracts land out to see if that's an overpay. Okay, Christian, can you hear me now?
Perfect. All right. What a season. What a season. 46 wins. Personally, I had a prediction of 45, but I'll take 46. I'll take 46 for sure. Yeah, man. I really wasn't expecting to get Cleveland, but I'm definitely happy with the matchup. I definitely wanted to play Cleveland more than the Knicks.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I feel like the Raptors, if you don't have big wing defenders, I
Mhm.
feel like the trio of Barnes, Ingram, and RJ are just going to overwhelm you. If you don't have like big wing defenders, eventually I feel like that trio will overwhelm you. And like, I just don't see the defenders for Cleveland in this case. Like, eventually, like, I just don't see how they're going to be able to contain all three of them, like, for a 7-game series. I'm still favoring Cleveland in the series, but I believe it goes 7. Like, I really believe like Harden's really gonna have a hard time with Scotty Barnes. Like, I remember I think we only played Harden one time this season when he was on the Clippers. And I
Okay.
remember he did have like a good like fourth quarter,
Mhm.
but like before that, like Barnes was just giving him hell the whole game. Like, he was miss all his rim finishes were he was missing all his rim finishes at the rim just because like Barnes' length was bothering him and the physicality was bothering him. So he was missing all his little gimmies at the rim and stuff. So like, I really feel like Barnes is really gonna give him a hard time. The X factor, I just don't think we'll really have an answer for Donovan Mitchell. I expect him to average like 30 throughout the series. Like, I expect them to average 30 out the series. But if we can contain Harden, because he's the head of the snake. Like, to me, he's the head of the snake for this team. Like, he's the one who's gonna allow necessarily Jared Allen and Mobley to have a good series. Their impact. Well, not their impact. At least offensively, it's gonna be very dependent on Harden. So like, I believe if we could cut off like I said, like the head of the snake, we can give ourselves a chance in every single game.
Mhm.
And also as well too, like, I think CMB could give on some switches. I think he'll give Mitchell a hard time as well too. Like, I think he's gonna give Mitchell. He might get in a little foul trouble here and now. It depends how the series is getting called. Like, if they let us play physical the way we do, like the way the Raptors play physical, if they allow that, then I think we have a really good chance. But if they're gonna be like calling like touch fouls and stuff like that throughout the series, then
Mhm.
yeah, it might be like 6 games for Cleveland. But if they let us play physically, like, I feel like we have a chance. I'm really interested like in the defensive matchup. I'm interested like for the starting lineup. Like, I have them like necessarily obviously Barnes starting on Harden.
Mhm.
Um Barnes starting on Harden. Pirtle and Allen. That's another big thing. Like, I think this was the best case scenario for Pirtle to have a good series. Like, this is the best case scenario because I think his best games this year have come against like Cleveland. Like, he's had some really good. At least I know he's had one really good game against Cleveland this year. And like the fact that Jared Allen doesn't bring him outside, he gets to stay around the paint where he's more comfortable. So that's
Mhm.
going to make him feel a lot at ease. Because I know every single time he has a matchup where he has to play like a stretch big, I know he's stressing before every game. Like, I know he's stressing to be put out there. So just the fact that he knows he's going to be around the rim majority of time throughout the series, I think that's going to put a lot of ease into him and just allow him to be big around the rim. I don't even need him to block shots. I just need him to be big around the rim and alter shots from like alter shots here and there. Like, I'll leave Barnes to get all the big block shots. I just need Pirtle to just be big around the rim. And with the fact that he's playing Jared Allen, he's gonna be around the rim a lot. So yeah, so starting so let's start with Barnes on Harden, obviously Pirtle on Allen. I'm curious. The thing I think would be a big thing. I'm curious to see how BI would do physically with Mobley. Because I think if you can kind of like get away with putting BI on Mobley, I think you like I think
Who's
that
guarding Donovan Mitchell here? Quickly?
like I said, unfortunately, like we just got I said he's gonna average 30. I said he's gonna average 30.
If
And then
you're
hopefully
lucky, he's going to average 30.
he's gonna average 30. He's gonna average 30, and then you hope that Jacoby comes in and gives you a lot there. But like even there, this is no good matchup for him at the end of the day. I'm hoping that CMB could show us something because I feel like he might be able to. He just might be able to.
Harden
If
and
they allow
Mitchell
him
are
to play
both
physically.
good passers. I think the consequence here is putting RJ Barrett. I would personally explore the idea. Again, it would be a quick hook if it doesn't work of putting RJ Barrett on James Harden.
Oh, no.
And I would, and this is going to sound crazy, I would put Scotty Barnes on.
Who's their starter? Who plays off ball for them at the 3 off of Harden and Mitchell?
It depends on
Is it
who's
Tyson?
healthy.
Is it
Yeah,
Tyson?
so it could be Jalen Tyson. It could be, it could be Max Strus. It could be Dean Wade. I mean, depending on who they want to start, they can alternate those 3 guys. The issue with, I would put Scotty on Max Strus. Now, nah, okay, maybe not. I might consider putting Scotty on Evan Mobley. Because I think Harden is he's so relentless and he's so voluminous with his touches. Putting Scotty away from the basket takes away your best rim protector, and putting RJ on Max Strus is going to leave you open for all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Well, then RJ can't guard anybody. So you're not putting RJ on Donovan Mitchell because he's going to absolutely blow past him. He's too quick, right? He's too quick. He's too shifty. He's too physical. He's going to foul him out. Putting RJ on James Harden, at the very least, exerts that on-ball pressure that RJ can add. Because this is the only place where RJ can actually kind of hang is with a slower guard who likes to pound the dribble. Because it's kind of like RJ's looking in the mirror, right? So
that's fair. And like the only like success RJ really has on defense is when he's allowed to use his physicality. So in that situation, like Harden's not necessarily gonna bully him to the rim, I guess, in a way.
Well, what about this? What about putting Quickley on Max Strus, putting Scotty on Donovan Mitchell?
I actually like how Brandon Ingram plays shooter in a way because of his length. I actually like how he plays shooters, but continue with what you're saying.
Yeah, like Brandon Ingram is fine, but like again, like Scotty is your best nail defender, gap defender, rim protector, and probably at this point, as sad as it is to say, probably your best point of attack defender in your starting lineup. So really, you want to be careful how you use him, but you also want him to have legs on offense. And having to guard James Harden, as I said, is just it's dangerous because James is so good at drawing fouls, and you get Scotty Barnes in foul trouble, this series will be over really, really quick, right? So again, by putting Scotty on Donovan Mitchell, at the very least, you're utilizing your talents to negate a star. So if Scotty is able to hold Donovan Mitchell to 24 points on sub efficiency, then at the very least, you can live with it, even if he's a little bit less efficient on the other end for having put in all that work, right? So if somehow, and I'm not saying this will happen because I'm definitely picking Donovan Mitchell to be the best player in the series, but if Scotty can cancel Donovan Mitchell out, we can win this series. That's really what it's going to come down to. Impact for impact. I'm not talking point for point, rebound for rebound, steal for steal, but I'm saying impact for impact. If these 2 players cancel each other out, the Raptors can win. Okay. If they can't, that opens up a world of pain. And also, like, their shooters are lethal. Max Strus, Jalen Tyson, and Dean Wade is a very good defender. People don't give him enough credit. I don't know why they don't give him enough credit, but he is a good one. So
Is he really? That's what because like
it's positionally versatile, and they have
I've been
Keon
paying
Ellis coming off the
attention
bench.
a lot. I've been hearing people mention that recently and stuff like that. Because like I was kind of paying attention to like I guess Cavs discourse and like just seeing how would they. Obviously, they all feel confident about like playing Toronto. I just don't see like I don't see who they feel like is gonna slow down Ingram at all. I guess I keep on hearing Dean Wade. Dean Wade, like, is he the defender? Is he the Ingram stopper this series?
Here's your Dean Wade crafted profile. That's what crafted sees him as a defender. I would argue he's a very, very underrated defender. He's not a very loud defender, but I've watched enough of him to say he's a very good defender. And yes, he is a very good Ingram matchup. So if they start him, that's going to be great. He's also like the prototypical 3-and-D combo forward big, right? So again, the positional versatility means he guards a lot of different positions. He's able to successfully switch down to the post. He's big enough to bang with a Jakob Poeltl. Honestly, Jakob Poeltl was getting stopped by Davion Mitchell the other day from scoring in the post. I don't really think he's going to have much of a chance scoring on Dean Wade. And yeah, I think he's just very underrated. Like I'm kind of curious why people don't talk about Dean Wade more. He's a very, very good player.
I think if he's the primary defender on Ingram, I think Ingram's gonna cook him. Like I'm expecting like a pretty big series from Ingram now. Now that we got this matchup, like, now that he's not going to be guarded by OG, all the wing defenders that the Knicks have in that starting lineup, like I'm expecting a pretty big series from. I'm expecting a big series from all like I consider personally, RJ Barnes. I'm not putting in any order, but like Barnes, I consider him the big three of the team. So like I'm expecting a big series. Like I'm expecting like 70 points combined from them per game. Barnes to average to be flirting with a triple double every game.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I
and
will say is like I think they're softer than the Knicks mentally. You know, apart from Donovan Mitchell, I don't really completely trust any one of their players to really show up in a major way. Ironically, they have a lot of playoff chokers on that team. So
exactly.
it kind of leans well. Like Max Strus has had some epic meltdowns.
If we get game one, oh my god.
Yeah. If
we get game one,
important. That would be important.
Oh my god. It flips the whole series if we get game one.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Raptors right now. And personally, I wanted the Knicks. I very much wanted the Knicks for a multitude of reasons. But
I wanted for the exposure because because the NBA hates on this team so much. It's like ridiculous. Not even the NBA Raps fan hate on this team so much. It's so ridiculous. Like just being like on Twitter and stuff and like seeing the discourse of the Raptors when this year they won 16 more games from last year. It's like it's ridiculous. Like I don't know if like the fan base is spoiled and they feel like now that we won one championship, like it's supposed to happen very easily and stuff like that. Were people just not around during the 2010s? Did people not see how much we struggled throughout that time? Like people not remember getting swept by the Wizard in our second year after winning like another franchise win and wins. Like I just didn't understand the discourse with like the Raptors all throughout the year. Like this season should not like this season should be looked at as success and nothing else. Like nothing else at all. Doesn't even matter what happens in the playoffs. Obviously, you want to see a good showing, but like to me, this season's a success for sure. 2 All-Stars, 46 wins. When we were predicted to have to win 33 to start out, like
37.
Like when the line first came out, wasn't it really low too?
37.
Like when it first came out, 37. Okay.
Yeah, it was 37, then it moved up to 38, 39, around there. But nobody saw 45, 50, nothing like this. And at one point, the Raptors were actually on pace to win 56 games.
Exactly.
So they really fell off.
Yeah. So this, to me, it's the season success. So like, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to the playoffs. Hopefully we can get. The reason why I said all that is because like that's why I wanted us to play the Knicks because I knew everybody would be watching that series. It's the Mecca, so like Raptors would be at least able to show how good they are and get in a series against the Knicks.
Well, the path forward becomes a little bit more doable, I would say, for some people, because I think if I asked every Raptor fan whether or not you predict the Knicks or if you prefer the Knicks or the Cavaliers, I don't know. Probably 80% would probably pick the Cavaliers over the Knicks because we've
Yeah.
lost so much to the Knicks and we beat the Cavs, although we've never faced this version of the Cavs team, so we really don't know.
Hmm.
But the other part of this is what side of the bracket you fall on. And now
Hmm.
you are in the Detroit bracket. And I think most Raptor fans would probably say, okay, this is very interesting. You probably have a better chance against Detroit than you do against Boston. Although some
Obviously.
cynical fans might say you have a chance against neither. At least against Detroit, you're facing a team that has similar limitations to you, right?
Hmm.
They have similar strengths and similar weaknesses. They're just a lot further along and they're a little bit deeper and a little bit more
Like,
athletic.
I don't
Um,
think like to me the talent gap between Detroit and Toronto is not even that. It's not even large to me. Maybe there is maybe a gap, but it's not even large to me.
I think the
And like
athletic gap is huge. That's the
to
gap.
me, it's the experience. I feel like
They're just as
isn't
young as we are, man.
I'm trying to think who's on that team. Like
Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson, he has a lot of playoffs experience.
He does. You
Who's
know, and
the
I mean,
who's
like,
the younger team between the two?
I would
Raptors, aren't they?
I would assume it's really, really close between the two. I mean, they play second-year guys like Ron Holland. They play third-year guys like Asar Thompson, or fourth-year guys. I don't know if Asar's in his third year now, or fourth year. Like, my point is, like, they are very young. Isaiah
Mhm.
Stewart's young. Jalen Duren's 23. Jalen Duren is 23. Cade is 24. Like, this is a very, very young team.
To me, because
And
like to me, I believe like whenever a young team gets any type of playoff experience, like the next year they're gonna be a lot better. Like that's just like a natural growth. So
I
like I
mean,
feel like the
ideally,
fact
or you could be like the Mike Brown Kings, and it's just a 1-year wonder, and then the rest of the West catches up, and you're nothing the next
or
year.
that's if you have some real good player. I think Barnes and BI are a little more talented than DeMontis. So
Yeah, one would hope. Anyways, Christian, any final thoughts, man?
no, that's it. Great year. Excited for the playoffs.
Excited for the playoffs, man. Thanks a lot for calling in.
All right, take care, man.
Okay, glad we got that to work. Before we go to any further calls, we have Ocon and AG are ready to call in. Let's just listen to what Brandon Ingram had to say momentarily. Okay.
The big goal of yours coming.
Hold on 1 second. And I am going to put this graphic up so that we don't get a copyright for this. But who knows?
Here last year, and in the preseason. How does it feel to kind of the way it played out and kind of way you were able to contribute to this team coming back to the playoffs?
Yeah, it felt good. You notice the difference between the start of the year and where we are right now. Amazing accomplishment to make it to the playoffs, and I think now we just got to reset and try to figure out the best way to win in this first round.
What's the biggest difference between where you were and where you are, do you feel?
From the beginning of the season, more chemistry on the team, more direction offensively and defensively, and more of a focus on how to win each and every basketball game.
This was something that you had talked about even before training camp. When we talked to you in July back in Vegas, you talked about playoffs being something that you had your mind set on. Why was that something that you were so confident in even back then before you guys were able to get together for camp?
Well, I saw the team before I integrated into it. I saw how hard everyone worked, the care factor from every player, 1 through 15, even the coaching staff, how they adjust game to game, the focus on the defensive end, and letting it transition to the offensive end. And I thought if I could step into the fold and be effective, that we would be right where we are today.
What have you told some of the younger guys that haven't been through the experience before, or what will you be telling them over the next week just in terms of how playoff basketball is different from what they've already experienced?
Whatever each player is good at, and how they've been effective all year. We need it consistently on a night-to-night basis. It's time to tighten up and, recovery, sleep, nutrition, and having a focus when we get out on the basketball floor so everybody is fresh and just ready to play their role.
How happy are you to avoid the play-in, given you've had to do it so many times, just go right to the playoffs?
It's a time that we can get some rest and reset. I'm happy about it. We got a couple days before we got to step back on the floor again, so rest is always good.
Brandon, Darko has said in the past that his scouts or the Raptors have scouted teams extra hard this year and put a little bit more detail into game plans. Has that been your experience from your perspective, and does that give you confidence heading into a playoff series, seeing how capable this coaching staff is of that?
Yeah, like I said, it's a care factor, and everybody has an input in what we do. So I'm sure Scotty will have some say-so, the coaches will have some say-so, every one of the players will have a say-so in what we do in these next few days and leading up to game one. So, I'm confident about where our team is right now and how we can go into game one and the rest of the playoffs, and, we'll see how we continue to adjust from game to game.
Brandon, Jamal Shead played in all 82 games in the regular season. How important is it for you and your teammates to have someone who's always there, who's always consistently on the floor, especially when they're a point guard?
Yeah, well, he's the head of the snake, especially for the second group. He started some this year, and to be available is the best thing, knowing that somebody's going to be there consistently doing the same thing every single night, defensive intensity, running the team. So, that's special to do, especially how hard he plays every single night.
Brandon, with all the work that you put in on your health, what's it mean to you to have played 75, 76 games this season?
Credit to the training staff, credit to my coaches, managing me the right way, checking on me, doing the right things in the weight room, off the court, on the court. Just credit to them for, putting me in the best place.
Do you find that this medical staff has, something that stands out above, other teams you've been on?
I guess the attention to detail, them really listening to me about how I really feel, knowing when to be on the floor, when to back off. I think it's just constant communication, and, we just work from there.
That's dope, man. You got to feel happy for him more than anything. Obviously, as a huge Scotty fan, I'm happy for Scotty to get through. I'm happy for the entire team. I'm happy for the rookies. But Brandon Ingram has taken a very, very much just again, the Bleacher Report article coming out right on the precipice of the playoffs, most overrated player. He's got a lot to prove. I think Scotty's got a lot to prove. He's got a lot to prove. These are big money players in the NBA. Both players make more money this year than Jalen Brunson, a fact that I'm sure that Knicks fans will be quick to remind you. These are all-stars. And when you're an all-star, you are tagged with, a great deal of responsibility as well in that situation. Okay, Okan, what's up, man? Hello.
Hey, Rob, how's it going?
It is going well, man. How are you?
I'm fine. Is my voice coming well?
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, because my internet kind of sucks right now. Oh, man. I'm really happy about the win, to be honest. I think Cavs is a better team than Knicks as well, and I'm kind of afraid of what's going to happen. But at the same time, I would not want our team to go to Madison Square Garden with Knicks having the home court advantage as well. So I think it's not the worst. However, the Donovan Mitchell matchup with anyone in our team is really scary to me, considering what he did last year in the playoffs. I think in the Pacers series, besides that one game where they were blown out, he averaged 40 points in that series, if you discount that game. So, yeah, Donovan Mitchell is scary. And I believe starting Jacoby instead of Quickley would be a better option in this type of cases. By the way, do you know in the past 15 games, what is the percentage of Emmanuel Quickley's 3-point shots?
If I had to guess, 27%, 30%.
Not that bad. It's actually 35%. Do you know what is Jacoby's?
44, 45?
It's 54%.
Oh my God. Okay. Wow.
And they're almost shooting identical amount of threes. Quickly shooting a little bit more.
Yeah, Quickley hasn't been right, but yeah, that's interesting. I went under on both. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know about this as well, and I wanted to check it because I felt like Jacoby was on a crazy run in the past games.
He really has.
I was shocked. I was shocked.
I mean, he didn't start the season out shooting well at all, right? And I remember having a conversation with his trainer, Eric. And this is a major credit to Eric, by the way. Okay. So I'm gonna say something that I'm not even sure I'm like at liberty to say. But Eric and Jacoby worked out during the All-Star break. So Jacoby took that week to get right with Eric. And I believe it paid off big time. Okay. So here's what I will say, and this is an open PSA to the Toronto Raptors. Next offseason, y'all need to involve Eric a lot more in what you're doing with Jacoby. Because this dude is good. Like, really good. I've known a lot of trainers, man. Eric is a special trainer. Like, the work that he does with Kaysen, Keaton, every player on his roster is thriving. And when I heard that Eric was going to be working with Jacoby and over the All-Star break, I was like, thank God. Because this dude is going to get him right. Now, right now, you know, like the way Jacoby's playing, I hope this playoff series is like a huge coming out party for him. I hope he has like a 24-point game, like a, you know, like a 6 threes game. You're going to need it. You're going to need it because you need to hit threes against this team. Like you can't be exchanging midi twos for threes and expect to win. And they have loaded up shooters. Sam Merrill, Max Strus, Jalen Tyson. I mean, every one of these players will be the best 3-point shooter on your team.
It's also
they got 3 of them.
It's scary to think that Quickley is playing and he's match up with anyone in the other team because, I mean, he can't guard Harden. He can't guard Donovan Mitchell. If you put him on Strus, and if Strus is going on a crazy run like he does sometimes, then even if he tries to contest him, he's going to shoot over him. So
no, I don't think it's that easy to shoot over Emmanuel Quickley, man. He has long arms. He's
but
yeah.
Strus is also good at getting open off the ball, I believe.
Yes, of course. But Max Strus is not a superstar. He's not Ray Allen. He's just a guy who's very opportunistically feasting on, you know, gaps. And this is where I'll say, you know, it's probably going to be, it's really going to come down to the Cavaliers defense right now. I mean, I'm going to look at who the Cavaliers have faced because I saw that record with James Harden and I'm just curious, like, who have they beat? Because they've also been stomped by some pretty mediocre teams over this stretch. So let's just look at their schedule and see, you know, what this James Harden version of the Cavaliers has really done. Let me just pull this up here. Bear with me for a second. Okay, so Cavaliers. Okay, so let's see. So I think they lost to OKC. Was this a game with James Harden or without? Yeah, this was a game with James Harden. Okay, so we go to this and let's start here. So they lost to the OKC Thunder. They beat the New York Knicks, something we haven't been able to do in 2.5 years. So there we go. There's something. By 15. They lost the Milwaukee Bucks, unbelievably. They lost to Detroit Pistons. They beat the Nets. They beat the Pistons. Then they lost to the Boston Celtics. They beat the Philadelphia 76ers. They lost to Orlando. They beat Dallas. They lost to Dallas on a back-to-back. Then they beat Milwaukee, beat Chicago, beat New Orleans, beat Orlando, split with Miami, beat Utah, lost to the Lakers, beat Golden State, beat Indiana, beat Memphis, beat Atlanta. Who the fuck have they beat? That's a really good question. Who have they beat? They beat Detroit once. They beat New York once. Apart from that, name the statement win that this team has had. Every single one of these are all bad teams. I mean, okay, and they split with Atlanta. We swept Atlanta. So I don't know. I mean, I think the swing in this series will really be Darko Rajakovic. Now, in I don't know if I was necessarily being fair to Mike Brown in the Knicks series, the potential Knicks series, by saying that Darko would outcoach him, because honestly, Mike's a really good coach and he has a lot of experience over Darko. Like, he has championship rings. He's been an assistant coach in the NBA since the mid '90s. So Mike has the experience on Darko for sure, as it pertains to NBA or just life experience. He has that. Um, I think Darko will get outcoached against the Cavs, though.
He might.
Yeah. So it'll really come down to the pro scouting. And honestly, again, one of the things that I have said very often with the Raptors is, as much as I do believe in Darko, I don't believe that this coaching staff is like a championship coaching staff. Like, there's elements to a coaching staff from like the heightened, like, again, Pat Delaney, Jama Malalela. I like Jama. Eric Corey. Like, this is not.
I think they're more developmental focused, but like they're decent at their jobs in terms of like coaching as well, but they're not like championship tier coaching
Right.
staff.
Exactly. And I mean, that's going to be the next tinkering stage for the Toronto Raptors, because there's positives and negatives to obviously making the playoffs. Obviously, the clear negative is right now, based on the seeding and where you ended up, you're going to be picking 20th or 19th. Right? That still opens you up to pick Bennett Sturts, and I very much think the Raptors should, because he's going to be in that range unless he rises. He'll probably rise. He'll probably rise. I'm getting a feeling once teams have a chance to bring him into their gym, like he could rise. So
this is the first season I haven't followed up NBA draft prospects, to be honest.
Yeah, so like the way I look at this draft, and again, like there's like so much to be said about the correlation between draft position and success in the NBA versus draft class, and rules that are made for like average draft classes don't hold true in weak draft classes, but rules that are held for weak draft classes definitely don't hold up in strong draft classes like this. And a lot of people, they'll look at Zachary Sachet or Andrea Bargnani and say, why are you not performing like a first overall pick? And it's like, bro, the draft is the draft. If there's no first overall pick in that draft, someone has to go first. Anthony Bennett, shout outs. But then you have a draft like this, which is very interesting, because not only is it very top heavy in that you do have potentially 3 to 4 franchise changing stars at the very top, but you also have this glut of players between 5 and maybe 18 that could all be lottery picks in a sensible year. And it would suck for the Raptors if they're right on the outside of picking one of those players. Like, if the draft fall off is exactly at 18 or 19 and there's just like a dramatic fall off in the level of prospect you can get. But I don't think it will be. I think there's some team that's going to reach for the wrong player. There's going to be a Hanson Yang type of rise. And then probably at 19 or 20, you're still going to get the last lottery talent in this draft.
I haven't seen a single draft where like the teams like don't make any like obvious mistakes in top 15. Like, some teams always do mistakes.
Sure. And sometimes it's a team you're not expecting, like Josh Primo. Like, who the hell saw that coming? So it definitely does happen. But again, to people who are just like, oh my God, I would have preferred 13 over 19. I'll remind you that Grady Dick was 13th and Jacoby Walter was 19th. So, you can find value anywhere. Okay, so here's a question for you, and this is actually going to be the subject of a video that I do later this week. But I'm actually curious. Like, are you decent with math?
Decent with what?
Math. Stats,
yeah,
math. So. Okay, cool. So you understand correlation pretty well, right? So if I said like a coefficient of 1, you'd understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So how correlated do you believe draft position is with success in the NBA? What coefficient would you assign that if you had to guess?
Oh. Well, could I do like a percentage instead of like correlation?
Yeah. Oh, how about I just give you like 4 options? Okay, the obvious wrong answer right away, -0.5. Right?
Yeah.
A second obvious wrong answer, 0. Let's give you 3 more potential answers. 0.35, 0.5, 0.75? Because obviously it's not 1.
I mean, position, it matters. However, like I would say 0.5. However, it's like if you're in the top 5, your position matters a lot. But if you're like between 15 and 20, then the importance of your position differs.
Rex Soul is correct. Actually, we're all wrong. It's actually a little bit lower than 0.35. It's 0.34, which represents about 11%. 11% of where you are drafted can explain your NBA success level. That's a lot lower than most people think. If the average fan had to guess what it actually is, they would probably guess it would be closer to like 0.7, 0.8. But it's not.
I mean,
and there's a lot of reasons for this. And honestly, I could even argue that the post-draft process for lottery picks is rigged for them to be successful. A player like Yegor Diamond, picked 8th, is going to get more opportunities than Nolan Traore, is going to get more, and he's going to get more opportunities than Danny Wolf. In theory, again, you look at a guy like Day'Ron Sharpe. Was Day'Ron Sharpe ever given the same opportunities as James Wiseman? No. So there is a greater vested interest in the part of the organization that invests the pick, an investment bias, if you will, like that I've invested a second overall pick in this player, I must ride with this player. And teams simply do not have that level of patience with the 29th pick or the 30th pick. So that being said, the fact that, pardon?
It's kind of us with Grady Dick, I believe.
Sure, absolutely. Because if Grady Dick was the 37th overall pick, he would have been cut by now, but he's not. And he was given opportunities. He's been given endless opportunities. For 3 years in a row, he's been a negative player. He continues to remain somewhat, in the plans. And he even had his, his contract picked up for next year preemptively. No reason to do it that early, but hey, man, shout outs. We have $7 million of dead weight on our contracts next year. The point here is players like Jamison Battle who come in undrafted, and the Raptors are, I think a lot of people maybe criticize the Raptors for not valuing first round picks enough, and I'm definitely one of them. If you think back to that Ochai Agbaji trade with the Utah Jazz, I mean, you think about all the incredible players who were available, and you think about those players, you're like, could we have had AJ Mitchell at 29 instead of Ochai Agbaji? Yeah, sure. Yeah, you could have. Even Isaiah Collier would probably be netting you more of a positive value right now than Ochai Agbaji. Pardon?
It's also a question if Raptors would they pick them.
Well, that's also part of it, right? Because he was right there at 31, and we picked Jonathan Mobo. So it's worth noting that Jalen Tyson, guys like this, have been available in drafts where the Raptors had picks in that range, and the Raptors just for one reason or another missed them. Keyshawn George, that's a Canadian guy. He's probably a future staple with the Wizards right now. And again, it's also a lot of what ifism about whether or not that player would have even developed, right, in this Raptors structure. That being said, though, I don't think the Raptors value picks as much because I think that the Raptors understand this 11% connection better than most teams. So whether they optically are able to express this to the fans or the media, but to the fans out there who are just like, but we should have tanked for the play-in to get the 13th pick instead of the 17th or 18th or 19th pick. I don't think the Raptors differentiate between those two picks as much as they would, as much as fans do. And when you consider the bias that is placed on giving lottery picks more advantage, you could actually say the 0.35 or 0.34 is actually generous. It's already rigged in favor of the lottery picks. Everything in the system is rigged for lottery picks to get more opportunity. This is the problem. So when people outline, picks like OG Anunoby, 23rd overall, Siakam, 27th overall, Nikola Jokic, second round, I'm not saying there isn't a connection between picking high and picking well. Of course there is, but it's not as strong as people think. And I think the Raptors will have a chance to pick an all-star level talent somewhere between 15 and 22. There will be one player who will be that level of player. I mean, so we just need to find them.
You got to be able to scout better. You got to be able to provide a environment for them to grow. And the Raptors have that environment right now. So the only thing remains is scouting well and find someone that fits in well, who will be hardworking, and well, you can find the all-star maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with Bennett Sturts, I know you haven't watched him. The more I watch him, the more I'm just reminded just how touch is such an important thing in the NBA. True.
Yeah, I think touch is an underrated aspect in most sports.
I want to flash back to the 2019 draft, right? So you would think, I mean, whatever value you want to use, win shares, value replacement, let's use value replacement. So there's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see where these guys fall. Do you see the randomness of it?
Yeah.
Right. It just, again, like, yes, probably people today wouldn't pick Ty Jerome over RJ Barrett just from a appeal perspective. But yes, most people would agree that Nickeil Alexander-Walker today might be a better player than RJ Barrett, and he was picked 17th. Goga Batadze, Matisse Thybulle's already had a hell of a career. You know, Daniel Gafford's been very serviceable. Nick Claxton, clearly a better asset. Cameron Johnson, better winner. Tyler Hero, 13th overall pick. So yeah, like the top 2 guys are still the top 2 guys. How long will that remain the case, though?
Well,
Cameron
also
Johnson is
keep
still
in
going
mind
up.
that top 2 guys don't even play a lot of games.
They really don't, and that's of course impacting their impact on winning, because best ability is availability. And we can
Did you
do
see the
this.
Grizzlies versus Jazz game?
Pardon?
Did you see the Grizzlies versus Jazz game?
I did not.
Oh, check the stat lines, please.
Oh, that one. Yes, the double triple double. Yeah.
Not only double, triple doubles, and two triple doubles off the bench from one team.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's the first time in NBA history that's ever happened. If we do the same thing for the top 8 picks in the 2020 draft, this is what happens. Halliburton ends up at number 1. Maxey, who was the 21st pick, ends up at number 3. The 30th pick, Desmond Bane, ends up at number 4. Emmanuel Quickley at 6. And Peyton Pritchard at 7. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players of the top 7 in terms of value of replacement ended up outside the top 10, and 4 of them ended up outside the top 20. So it's just like, you know, you just have to find this value. Like, you absolutely have to find this value. And you know, I shudder to tell people where 2023 lies, because let's just see. Grady Dick. Grady Dick was 2024. It's 2023. There we go. So 2023, here's Grady Dick in terms of value of replacement. Let's see where Grady Dick is. There's Grady Dick. Wow. You know what's funny? The player I wanted over him is 1 spot below him, Jordan Hawkins at 54.
Please look at 49 as well.
Oh my God. 49, Scoot Henderson. Holy shit. Yeah, I was high on Scoot Henderson too, man. That's the crazy part. I got this draft so goddamn wrong. The only thing I really got right was Cason Wallace. Like, I was high on Cason Wallace when he was being mocked top 20.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, I saw him as a lottery pick, but apart from that, like, I mean, Brandon Miller is really turning it around now. Like, he's had a great year this year, but wasn't super great before that. Cam Whitmore, who a lot of fans wanted. Keontae George, a lot of fans wanted Keontae George. Like, he's had a brilliant year this year, and I'm sure if he plays another year like he did this year, he'll rise up this very quickly.
Yeah. Keontae started so bad at the beginning, but this year he was crazy.
Yeah, he's almost erased the negative impact of the last 2 years in half a season this year. So he'll move up this list. He'll probably be top 5 within 2 years on this list. But again, like Asar Thompson, Amen Thompson being top 4, this is not a surprise. But yeah, like, it's just, you look at all of this and you're just like, if there is a player that you can get at 19 or 20, the best value there is that you also don't have to pay them like a top 5 pick. You know, you don't have to pay them 12 million, 13 million, 14 million. You get them on the super cheap deal. Maybe the Raptors really value that. And I, for one, think that if they pick Bennett Sturts, like, it's going to be something, man. It's really going to be something.
Are we able to re-sign Mamu?
Yeah, but we'll have to dip into our own mid-level for that.
All right.
Armin saying IQ is having an MRI on his leg right now. Oof. I am of the mind, and this may not be popular, that we might be better off without him.
I wouldn't say so, but considering the fact that we're not going to put him on the bench to start the game, then yes. But the thing is, like within the NBA, when you give a guy a 35 million contract a year, you can't put him in the bench. So that's the problematic part.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, that's why these guys seek out these really big contracts, because they don't want to be put on the bench. But that being said, like $32.5 million sitting on your bench as a six man is definitely more value than $32 million sucking the oxygen out of your offense. And honestly, like I like the idea of Scotty at point against this team. I maybe had I just think it creates such a matchup problem.
Yeah.
I don't think Harden or Mitchell can guard him in the post at all, and you constantly have that ability to do that. And now you get to start Jacoby Walter, who's a significantly better, better defender than, I don't want to say significantly better. He's a better defender than Emmanuel Quickley, and right now he's a better shooter than Emmanuel Quickley, and he doesn't pound dribbles like Emmanuel Quickley. Pardon?
Don't you think he's significantly better?
No, I don't think he's significantly better. That would imply that Jacoby Walter is like a defensive stopper, and he is definitely not. But he's good, and he's scrappy, and he's a little bit bigger, and he's very tenacious on that end. And he probably is a better matchup for Donovan Mitchell, if we're being honest. Like in terms of the player that Donovan Mitchell is, I would trust Jacoby a little bit more. And so yeah, Jacoby has a chance to start in the playoffs. What a huge experience for him. He's obviously a huge part of the core going forward. And if the Raptors get smoked, there's always a baked-in excuse of we didn't have Emmanuel Quickley. So you get to save face.
What do you think about the significance of CMB in this series?
I think he's a great matchup for both their bigs. Again, like whether we were going to face 5 or 6, I had it in my mind that Colin Murray-Boyles is going to be a game breaker for both teams, because I don't think Evan Mobley appreciates the type of physicality that CMB can bring to him, like especially like getting under his dribble a little bit. I think he can take him out of the series. And Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell consistently hunts switches. So does James Harden. So obviously CMB is going to have to be a lot more disciplined with his fouls than he was tonight. But that being said, like I've really loved what I've seen from CMB the last 7 games that he's been healthy, and he's been amazing. And,
I love CMB, man.
Absolutely.
He's so good. I think he will be one of the NBA's top defenders just within 2 years, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But he's also become like this incredible rim protector for the Raptors. Like recently, he has a 4.1 block percentage, and I was looking back through Raptors history at every single rookie. Actually, this is really fun. I'm gonna go back and find this post while you talk. But yeah, like are you following us on Twitter?
I'm just going into Twitter to check on stuff, and I see your post always because I don't follow anything basically.
Okay.
I use Instagram more often.
So you saw the post that I'm talking about?
I think so.
Okay, but I don't think everyone else has here. So let me go back and find it, and I will definitely share it with people. Man, I post a lot. What is wrong with me? Jesus Christ. It's like all day, all night. My God. Okay.
But it's nice, man. Like because I can find some analytical stats to send my friends through social media. So I usually send yours, which is nice.
That's nice. Okay, so this is the graph I'm talking about. So this is Raptors rookies per block percentage, minimum 1,000 minutes. This is every single player that I felt met the criteria for 1,000 minutes. The best shot blocking rookie in Raptors history, of course, Marcus Camby. No surprises, anyone who watched him. Jonas Valanciunas was a little bit surprising to me, honestly. I did not remember him being this level of shot blocker, but it's worth noting he put on a lot of weight after his rookie season. He was a lot springier, and I actually remember like Jonas was so fleet of foot for a 6'11", 7-foot guy. The way the Raptors bulked him up actually really pissed me off. They've made this mistake with both him and Andrea Bargnani, where they just bulk guys up, and it just didn't work. But there's Colin Murray-Boyles above Jamario Moon, which is shocking to me because Jamario Moon was one of the best wing shot blockers, period. And again, Colin Murray-Boyles is not a spring chicken. He's not an elite pogo stick like Jamario, Vince, and Tracy. He's not a big like Ed Davis or Chris Bosh or Andrea Bargnani or Jonas Valanciunas or Marcus Camby. So this is just, he is such an outlier among outliers in this entire list. Him and Scotty Barnes. And of course, him doubling Scotty Barnes as a shot blocker as a rookie is pretty surprising because Scotty was a decent shot blocker as a rookie. So yeah, that was really crazy. And speaking of analytics that really, really show Colin Murray Boyles, are y'all ready to have your head blown? Here's how win shares per 48 sees Colin Murray Boyles' impact as a rookie. These are the top rookies in Raptors history per win shares per 48. Colin Murray Boyles, number 1. Vince Carter, number 2. Jonas Valanciunas, number 3. Jamario Moon, number 4. Scotty Barnes, number 5. Chris Bosh, number 6. Ed Davis, number 7. Then we go down to OG, Mo, Marcus Camby, Tracy McGrady, Charlie Villanueva, Jorge Garbajosa, Damon Stoudemire, DeMar DeRozan, Andrea Bargnani, Jacoby Walter, Joey Graham, Terrence Ross, Jamal Shedd, and all the way at the bottom, Grady Dick. Grady Dick is at the bottom of every single list in the history of human civilization. You know, like we can just make my favorite Raptors list. He'd probably be right at the bottom too. But that being said, Colin Murray Boyles being this high up is evidence of just his efficiency and the things that he does to impact winning. The defensive rating, of course, gets so much better with him on the court. And it's just like, I'm not saying he's a better player than Vince Carter. Please understand. I'm not saying he's a better player than Scotty Barnes. I'm just saying per his impact on winning, as win shares calculates it, he's been more impactful per minute he's played. And that's saying something because, you know, Jamario Moon might be higher than Scotty Barnes, but Jamario Moon was a 27-year-old playing fifth option, right? So role matters a lot here. But high rebound rate, high block rate, high steal rate, low turnover rate, low foul rate, high efficiency. This is going to make you very favorable to most analytics. Forget win shares. Like Colin Murray Boyles has one of the highest defensive EPMs by any Raptors rookie ever. It's like positive 1.5. So there's not really an analytic that hates him. Every analytic loves him. And frankly, this is a trend that is held through college basketball as well. He was dominant in the SEC last year. I think among all the players in the SEC had one of like the 5 highest box minus in the SEC last year. So he's just been consistently awesome.
I think they thought he was ready when he was coming into the draft as well, and that's one of the reasons they picked him, I believe.
He's definitely ready, but I think just like with Cam Boozer, there's sometimes this idea that because a player is ready, they have less potential. And I see so many areas for growth in his game. And while he may never be like that explosive above the rim finisher that a lot of people, you know, envision when they think about a top 10 pick, I think it's not even that relevant to be that type of player. We see Jokic, we see Şengün, we see, you know, first of all, as a Turkish person, am I saying Şengün correctly?
You're saying it better than any other foreigner I know.
Okay, good. I've been working on it.
I realize that.
Yeah.
I remember the day you asked me how to pronounce it exactly.
Yeah. Şengün. Şengün. Ah, that sounded right. Şengün.
Alperen Şengün.
Alperen Şengün. I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna say this better than anyone in the world.
You're good enough. Don't worry. If you call him like that, any Turkish person, they will appreciate it.
Yeah. What are your overall views on the playoffs based on, you know, how the brackets are breaking out right now? Thoughts on who you think's gonna win, et cetera, et cetera.
Like each series or like the whole playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the West series are completely locked in, but just like who do you see coming out? And like, what's your prediction to be Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, NBA champion?
This year, I think it's harder to predict than previous years, but I mean, from the West, I mean, I want to say Spurs, but I don't know if like any team can beat OKC in the West right now. It's kind of like either Spurs or OKC. I think it's kind of like I can't say obvious because there can be surprises always, but I think it's OKC or Spurs in the West. And in the East, yeah, maybe Boston again. I really can't think of any like logical prediction because it feels like anything may happen in this playoffs, and I never thought about playoffs like this before in the past 5 years at least. I always had some prediction, but this time I really can't say much.
Yeah, I think I think it could be. So right now we will see Knicks versus Atlanta. I pick Knicks to beat Atlanta, smoke Atlanta. We would have the Toronto Raptors versus the Cavaliers. I'm just gonna be a homer and pick the Raptors. That's okay. I can do that. Then we got Sixers Magic in the play-in. I'm gonna pick the Sixers, and then Magic and Hornets. I'm just gonna pick the Hornets. I'm sure the Magic can steal a game. I do believe in it, but
You like the Hornets though.
I do like the Hornets. So Hornets, Detroit. I pick Detroit. Magic, Boston. I pick Boston. New York Knicks, Atlanta Hawks, as I said. Okay, so then in the next round we would have Raptors, Detroit. I pick Detroit. And then you would have Boston versus New York, and I would pick Boston. So then you have Boston, Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals, at which point I would probably have to lean. It gives me no pleasure to say this because I do want Detroit to win, but I would have to lean Boston in that scenario. Yeah. So we go Boston East, and then on the West side, I'm thinking the way the bracket is going to break down, the cool thing is the Spurs and the OKC Thunder, if they go through, they don't have to face each other until the conference finals. And at that point, I would pick, you know what's crazy? Might actually pick the Spurs to win it all, man.
I would like that.
Yeah. I'd be happy for my guy Carter. There's a part of me that's just like, they're too young. They're not experienced enough. Wemby's going to be this. Wemby's going to be that. He's going to get exposed. Probably.
They're young, but they're also mature. That's the difference maker, I believe. They don't have the experience, but they have the mentality.
They're so deep. Like, people have to look at this. Julian Champagny, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Dylan Harper, Carter Bryant, Steph Castle, De'Aaron Fox. That's their perimeter rotation. That is ridiculous. Yeah. That is absolutely freaking ridiculous. And they're all switchable.
Players, I love them a lot.
And I trust them in those big moments too. And, you know, like I love Shea, but they got a lot to throw at Shea. They got a lot to throw at Shea. And unlike the OKC Thunder, they're not likely to just go completely cold. I completely forgot about Harrison Barnes. Like, Harrison Barnes is there too. Like, they've got so much depth. They can deal with foul trouble. They can deal with, and again, as I said, like, a few of their wings can actually guard up a position, down a position. You know, Steph Castle can guard 1 through 4 easily, especially if you're going to play small ball 4. And then, you know, players like Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, you know, they're prone to go very cold. And
they also have that one French guy.
Pardon?
They also have that one tall French guy.
Oh, yeah. Victor. I was just like, what tall French guy? Right. Victor Wembanyama. Yes. Yeah. Knicks fans will boo hard. Okay. So here's kind of what I'm rooting for. I think Boston versus San Antonio would be such a really elite final series. That would be so cool. You know, just watching Jaylen Brown get blocked at the rim over and over and over and over and over and over. Even pick up like 18, you know, pick up 18 blocks against that series.
Jaylen Brown glaze kind of got you mad, I guess.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown's annoying as hell. That Scotty comment has been like war in my mind. The extra chromosome bullshit. Like he played it down after. He's just like, oh, I didn't know it meant that. Yeah, sure you didn't, buddy. You can't say you're this smart and then be that stupid. But that all being said, I also think he's just a highly overrated player, and that usually just pisses me off to watch highly overrated players. But this all being said, yeah, Boston looks really scary, man, and they're very connected, and just I think a lot of people genuinely don't understand like what a championship team looks like. It looks like what Boston looked like today. Connected, professional. And, you know, when Joe Mazzulla was hired, I got to say I was very skeptical. very skeptical, very young coach, extreme, extreme ideas, very, unconventional approach to dealing with the media. Didn't have like the really necessary like requisite experience. Was pretty much the fourth option to be hired, if we're being honest. Will Hardy was ahead of him. He gets poached by Utah, and then maybe the third option, I guess. Ime Udoka was, really, it was Brad Stevens was the first option. Brad Stevens goes up to the front office, then they go with, Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka does what he does, and then they want to go with Will Hardy, but then Danny Ainge poaches him, and then boom, you're stuck with like in the last moment, in the wake of this horrific thing that has happened, with Ime Udoka, you have to suspend him for a year and ultimately fire him, and you just hire this guy. And he just comes up and he's just like, yeah, I'm the new head coach of the Boston Celtics. You're like, what? But he grew on me so fast. And he really, I think, not since like someone like Phil Jackson or maybe Greg Popovich have I seen a coach who so consistently has his team bought in. Like, yeah. So if I had to rank the coaches in the Eastern Conference, it's like him and JB Bickerstaff are like my two favorite coaches in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs. And ironically, I have them, in the Eastern Conference Finals. Coaching matters more in the playoffs than ever before. So yeah. Anyways, Okan, final thoughts, man?
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for the whole coverage in this regular season. We have the playoffs to come. I wish we do well in this playoffs. I wish they surprise us. I wish we see some really incredible performances from Scotty. I don't expect 30 points per game or anything like that, but I expect good defense, play with heart, give us some good plays, and just give us some nice basketball that we can enjoy, because we haven't been enjoying some playoff basketball for a long time now. So, yeah, I'm eager to see you on playoffs, I guess. It's 5 a.m. right here, so I'm just go to sleep.
Okay, enjoy your sleep, man, and thanks for calling in. Appreciate you, and thanks for waiting.
Yeah, for sure, man. Have a nice.
Good night. Okay, so let's get to some super chats and some member chats. First of all, member chat. Delano Banton, Raptors legend, almost cost the game, bro. Delano was butt cheeks down the stretch, but shout outs to Delano Banton for getting minutes and also getting a full contract with the Boston Celtics, a team that he spent a lot of last year with. Recruiter dude saying, thanks again for the coverage this season, Rob. Not the most fun season to watch, if I'm being honest, but it could have been a lot worse. I understand where you're coming from on that one. Me personally, it was I think last season was pretty fun for me in terms of like managing expectations, the vibe. It was just fun. I think this year, because it came with some early expectations when the Raptors went on that big nine game winning streak, and then the subsequent coming down to earth process, I think a lot of people maybe bought the Kool-Aid a little bit too much early and then sold it a little too early as well. But I hope Raptor fans will give this a chance. I empathize with what Scotty said, about like he can't wait to feel the excitement and energy. Well, that excitement and energy is going to go up 10 notches if the Raptors come back to Scotiabank up in this series 2-0, or at least tied 1-1. But yes, like what you're hoping for is to be in every game. That's what you hope for. You hope that, because the reps are not going to be meaningful unless you're actually in these games, unless you're going out trying to win these games. I don't want to see any fucking experimentation in this playoff series. Like, respect the game, respectfully, respect the game. Okay. I don't want to see any big-brained ideas of Donovan Mitchell being guarded one-on-one in space by Jakob Poeltl. Like, if I see that, I might crack my TV. So, things like this, I think, if I believe, look, to anyone out there who's kind of like a little bit like, I don't know what version of Scotty Barnes is going to show up in the playoffs. I'll say this. Have y'all seen a 5 to 6 minute spurt every other game? It could be a half, it could be a quarter, it could be a 5-minute spurt, it could be a 3-minute spurt where Scotty just goes into a different zone. We saw a lot of this in his second year. We saw a little bit of this in his third year. There's moments, there's matchups, the head-to-head with Giannis. He just gets really excited about it. And suddenly it feels like Scotty's going full sprint as opposed to jogging. He does a lot of jogging. He conserves a lot of energy because he has a big role. And I don't know if this is just a conditioning thing or what, but honestly, like the next week for Scotty Barnes should be all about recovery. Everything, recover your muscles, recover your mind, recover your energy levels, visualize, meditate. This is all what it's about. You do this, you get into the playoffs to avoid the play-in specifically so that you can avoid this drudgerous, one game elimination bullshit, traveling from city to city. This is not how you should be preparing for the playoffs. Playoffs are about walk arounds and, scouting, extensive film study, understanding tendencies. Scotty's, I think that this is not a guy who, like, why do I call him a superstar? He's obviously not a marketable superstar. He's not selling out games on the road like LeBron. He's not averaging 30 a game like Shea. So why do I call him a superstar? It's because very few players have the ability to bend the game completely to their will other than superstars. When I think about superstars, that's how I define a superstar, is their ability to go into a different zone where everything around them craters to them. So when Scotty goes up a level defensively, all 9 players move differently. When he goes up a level on offense, when he starts driving the ball down the whole, down to the rim and hitting shots, and starts getting things change, man. And when Scotty goes into that bag, it's usually like a 20-3 run for the Raptors, and he's done it like plenty of times this season. So you wonder if Scotty maybe has a similar, while nowhere near the execution, polish, and talent level of a Kawhi Leonard, not talent level, skill level of a Kawhi Leonard. Do you remember when Kawhi Leonard said like the regular season is basically just practice for him? And then, of course, Kawhi goes from this level to this level in the 2019 playoffs. And that's because, he was saving some stuff, defensively, he was saving some stuff. He was moving different in the playoffs. He was extending, jumping a little bit better. He was rebounding a little bit better. And they're just players that have gears. Anthony Edwards is an example of a player that has a gear, and he has a different gear that he can go to in the playoffs. There's so many examples. Michael Jordan was a player that just had an extra gear. Reggie Miller was a player that had an extra gear. I think you're about to find out that Scotty Barnes has an extra gear, and then you're going to find out that he has a gear after that. Because when it is time for winning a championship, when, the Raptors go through this, phase of tinkering their roster 3-4 times, and you end up in the finals, or you end up in, a competitive Eastern Conference Final series, and it's game 6 and all the marbles. This is a player who I believe, unlike a DeMar DeRozan, is not going to come up short, because there's physical advantages he has that no one can do anything with. When this guy wants to go to the basket, you're not stopping him. Puts one shoulder into you, you're going 4 feet back. The only way you're going to stop him is if he jogs into you. And I think that's what's so frustrating for Raptor fans with Scotty Barnes, right? Is because you want him to be 100% the highlight all the time because you think that's possible, right? But most offensive players aren't their team's best defender. They don't play 80 games. They don't play top 10 minutes. And they don't do it at 6'9", 250. So for him, I think we'll find out that he has another gear. I think we'll find out that he has a completely different gear than an Evan Mobley or a Jared Allen or even a Paolo Banchero. I think Paolo, weirdly enough, has another gear. He's been a huge playoff riser. So again, there's just players that I think they have a different intensity that they can rise up to. There's a focus level. They call it the eye of the tiger, whatever you want to call it. There's like a different gear of focus, intensity, and athleticism and twitch that they can get to, where their body goes into almost like a fight or flight, like this is for all the marbles, and they just start like moving different. And when I've seen that, Scotty, that's a superstar to me. That is 100% a superstar. That's like LeBron going ballistic, in his second or third year against the Detroit Pistons, Dwayne Wade going nuts against the Dallas Mavericks in the finals. Like this to me was like, oh, there's that guy, and there's 9 other guys that can't do anything but just watch, because he's not going to be stopped. When Dwayne Wade is Kobe Bryant, when he went ballistic, in the 2002 playoffs. Like that to me was like, oh, I guess Kobe's a superstar right now. Because in 2001 I was like, Vince, Kobe, it could go either way. In 2002 I was like, oh, that's a different level of dude. So when that intensity goes up, the pressure goes up with it. There's a pressure in the playoffs, the fans, everything's louder. If you were at Scotiabank today, it was quiet, at least from my vantage point right now, looking at it, it was pretty quiet. Everyone's quiet. Nobody's really rowdy. But when the tickets start costing $400-$500, you're not on your phone as much. You're trying to cherish the moment. When it comes down to a game 6 and you're down 3-2, what is that level of, I got to save some energy for tomorrow when there is no tomorrow? And that's when I think you find out who people are. So that's something I think a lot of people don't appreciate completely about the playoffs, that they expose that level of character in players. And I think you're going to find out some cool things about Scotty Barnes. Okay, not Donald Fagan said, go baseball, basketball team. Cool. Thank you very much for the member chat, and thank you for being a member for the last 7 months. Sparkling Harmony said, is Scotty a lock for all defensive first team? He's a lock for my first team, all defense. I don't know about everybody else's because I listened to Nerd Sesh the other day and they had him on their second team. Locks for first team, all defense should be Asar Thompson and Victor Wembanyama. Soft locks for first team, all defense should be Scotty Barnes, Derek White, and probably one of Chet Holmgren or Rudy Gobert. And that's where you end up in that little dicey zone where if you could make an argument for Dyson Daniels because the Hawks, technically the Hawks and Raptors finished with the exact same records. You really can't. Scotty just carried a momentous load. He played the most games out of any of those players. Wemby didn't even come close in terms of Scotty's minutes this year or games played, frankly, for that matter. So I think Scotty carried a tremendous load for a top 7 defense. There isn't another top 15, top 20, top 30 defender on his team, unless you're really, really high on CMB, who didn't play a lot of games or a lot of minutes. So yeah, like for me, it's pretty obvious that Scotty Barnes should be first team all defense. But that being said, this is the NBA. And these are NBA voters, and this is the NBA media. How much Raptors did they really consume? We don't know. Hi there, it's me, member of 6 months, said successful season for the Raptors. I wholly concur. Absolutely. Raw Milk Man 69. What a crazy name, man. Raptors in 6. That would be great. That would be great because that means they get to close it out on their home court. That would be awesome. Fiendstar with a super chat here said Raptors in 7 and Scotty now a superstar is what I'm here for. How about Raptors in 4 and Scotty is a superstar? How would that be? Raptors in 4, then you get to wait. You get to wait on your opponent. That would be amazing. Don't even let James Harden get to the game 6, game 7 meltdown. Cavs court better be fixed. Yep. Does Scotty have a chance to drop to DPOY? No. No, not at this point. His defensive regression over the last 25 games has been very obvious. Apart from like a 4 or 5 game stretch in that middle, he didn't play great defense. Like he's played good defense. He's still been the Raptors' best defender on most nights. But to be in contention for DPOY on a non-top 3 defensive team in the same league as Victor Wembanyama, you have to do something truly, truly, truly incredible. And one could argue he did do something truly incredible. But that all being said, like, no, I don't think so. Can't wait for Chill to actually watch Scotty. I think Chill does watch Scotty, but I don't think Chill watches Scotty like full games of Scotty. And unless they face the Cavaliers, which is really interesting because now he's going to have to watch the Cavaliers play basketball. Yeah. I hope I'm on PC, past this week. I have no idea with all the stuff that's happened with Real Talk and all that stuff. I have no idea where I stand currently. I know I'll be on the panel on Tuesday. That's as far as I know. But hopefully, I will remain a part of that platform. It would be cool. Terrence Davis saying, Chill wishes Scotty was Mobley. That was a really good cook by by Swiper. I have to say that was incredible. Yeah. Yeah. I have no idea, man. Like I look at the chat, and after every single show last week that I was on, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there was like, get rid of this guy. He's bad for your brand. He's terrible. He's this, he's that, he's that. So I'm just like, okay, like maybe that's where it goes, right? I have to say, like, for me, this is a very, very cool opportunity because it's a challenge. And I've said this before. It's always a challenge, right? Like for me, if something's sufficiently well paying, sufficiently challenging, sufficiently meaningful, I have to do it. With most things basketball related, there's already a baked in inherent meaning in it, right? Like for me, being on Player's Choice, I get to learn more about the game. I get to dig more deeply. I get to get pressed on my takes a lot harder than I am anywhere else. So it's always been like a good thing for mental development. Also, I've mentioned this before. One of the things that really bothers me is multiple sounds at the same time. This reminds me of like something that happened in 2018 where a fire alarm was going off and my ex-girlfriend started yelling and my dog started barking at the same time. 1, 2, 3. I was about to go crazy. Like I was honestly about to bang my head into a wall. Couldn't even stand like those 3 things happening at the same time. So yeah, listening to people talk over you is like it's very, very good exposure therapy for sure. Time for Evan to get the spanking of his lifetime. Those are fighting words. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Karen Hall saying outrage and controversy style though, good reason to keep you. I really don't want to be the reason for outrage and controversy. It's just I have no idea how to scale back my thoughts. I've actually learned something recently that voices are a little bit like music. Have you all ever thought about this? That some people have a very pleasant voice to listen to, and some people, it's nails on a chalkboard, right? So somebody said to me the other day, they're like, don't feel too bad because with a voice like yours, to have been as successful as you are doing basketball podcasting, it's actually a huge testament to your basketball knowledge. I didn't know how to take that. That's the most backhanded compliment in the world, but I kind of understood it. I do have a bit of a halting way of speaking. I'm trying to get better with it, but there is an element of like, it's not exactly like Chilltown Hoops, right? Chill is so easy to listen to. Like you have certain people, they have a very flowy, it's a musical voice, right? Like you have a musical voice. It could be tone, intonation, vernacular. There's so many things, right? Rob, have you ever been in people management during your corporate career? I mean, I've run companies where I've had to hire and fire people. I've been a director and I've had to, choose my crew. But apart from that, no, not really. I've definitely never been in HR. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Player's Choice pen is top search result. I don't know. Yeah. I actually like your voice. It's smooth. I appreciate that. I mean, some people, feel differently about it, but yeah, some people think I'm boring. Am I boring? Some people think I'm boring. Asking this community if I'm boring is probably like a very bad sample, right? To do that. Also, AG, you had called in. Unfortunately, the call with Okan and then the call with Christian and the call with Professor Pixel all went a little bit long. But if you wanted to call back in, definitely feel free to call in. We can take one more call if you have time. Cavs are a better matchup for Pirtle. Need him. Yeah, I generally agree with you that it will be a better matchup for Jakob Pirtle. Yeah. Mobley might have to do the Charmin Ultra Soft commercials after this series. Shoot. I think your voice is great, but your tone is monotonous. This I've heard before, yes. AG saying I'm in a loud atmosphere. Okay, no problem. We will do a AG, you are a member. So we're gonna do a members live tomorrow. We're gonna break down the Cavalier series in some particular way. Kevre saying, do you think Pirtle is playing hurt? Yeah. I mean, he's walking around like Frankenstein. I'm sure there's some sort of lingering pain with him for sure. I could feel it. But that being said, like, nobody needs a week off more than Jakob Pirtle and Scotty Barnes right now. Absolutely. Springer saying your mic sound setup on PC is far better than anyone else. Really? You think so? I'm trying to think. Like, I think Jordan has a pretty good setup for the most part, but you know, I do think some people have very buggy mics. Maybe they should get their mics on Alibaba, like this guy. No free promo for Alibaba, man. Did I tell y'all that I ended up getting something off Temu and I absolutely regretted it the second I got it? Don't buy anything off that trash app, man. No offense to you if you buy things off that app. I ended up getting like it's like something. It was the sound panels. Oh my god, it was terrible. It told me to put my sound panels in water to make them like full size. I was like, fuck this, man. I'm not washing sound panels. And then they do that thing where they're just like, oh, you've won 3 gifts. Log in. Ugh, sucks. Okay. Also on April 15th, Amal is playing as part of National Canadian Film Day. There are 2 tickets left. To people who are interested, definitely go on filmfreeway.com/pendants and get your final 2 tickets. And if you are somebody from this community who's showing up and you're planning not to show up, let us know via the email so we can free up your tickets. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to that. Like, I ended up watching that film back. I think I mentioned this before. I ended up watching that film back because I was like, I don't know. Also, I watched Thrash last night on Netflix, the shark movie. Interesting. Really, really funny because it's such a... Has anyone else watched it, first of all? The shark movie where the levee breaks and there's a category 5 storm and then all the sharks come in because a meat truck over... I can't believe I'm describing a real movie either. Oak Tree saying Thrash was all right. So yesterday, I went to a fight with my girlfriend because she watched Lawrence of Arabia. Okay, she watches Lawrence of Arabia for 4 hours, right? While I was doing the live, I think I took a nap in the middle too. And then I was just like, I was having a deprocess day, like one of those days where you just want to veg out and not do anything, eat some food, chill out, not have to think too hard. And I turn on Thrash and she's just like, wait a second, because we always fight over like whose movie we should watch. And me being a film festival director and a filmmaker, I sometimes like I push on that a little bit. I'm just like, dude, like, trust me, when it comes to movies, I pick better movies. So she used that moment to be like, wait, I just spent 4 hours watching Lawrence of Arabia and you're about to watch Thrash and I'm the person who has like bad taste in movies. So that was very funny. I don't think that there's anything wrong with watching mindless popcorn flicks. I really don't. I used to when I was a pretentious art house nerd, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with liking a Marvel movie. That's perfectly okay. It's perfectly fine. No one is going to shoot you. It's okay. And mindless popcorn flicks have a place as long as you don't walk out of Thrash being like, the life lessons in Thrash were profound. The soliloquies about the environment were just profound. No, it's a very heavy-handed, very uneven film. But I will say this. Oof, you don't even want to hear this. Have you watched Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling yet? Yes, I did. I watched it in IMAX and I absolutely fucking hated it. And nobody thinks that I know about films anymore because everybody else loved it. Everybody loved it. Everybody I see everywhere, they're just like, oh my God, it's such a great movie. It was such a great movie. Such a great movie. I didn't like it. Sorry, shoot me. I didn't like it. Okay. I'm not saying it's bad. You might think it's great. Like, I just genuinely thought it was trash. I didn't love it. Was it cliche? I didn't think it was funny. I felt like the sense of humor was like written by a 12-year-old. I didn't think it was funny. I think it was visually stunning. Also, Lawrence of Arabia. I don't like Lawrence of Arabia that much, and I watched it when I was very, very young, and I refuse to watch it again. And why don't I love Lawrence of Arabia? It's a classic. People swear by it. It's based on a true story. Does anyone else love Lawrence of Arabia here? Anyone? 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 I don't love it. I don't love it. I personally kind of sick of the white savior trope in films. I could do without it. I don't need to see white people saving Arabs and civilizing Arabs and helping Arabs win battles with Turks, especially when it is a highly exaggerated account from a generally narcissistic protagonist. No thanks. It's beautiful. It's stunning, visually amazing, cinematography, awesome, set design, great. But me personally, just have a bit of an aversion to films that try to cookie cutter the shit. Yeah. Daryl saying we all have movies that are considered great that we don't like. For me, it's Pulp Fiction. Honestly, Daryl, that's exactly it, right? So, like, it's totally fine to not love a certain movie. I don't know where I liked it, but was irritated by the language barrier getting so easily resolved. Do you mean Lawrence of Arabia? Yeah, so Lawrence of Arabia is problematic for so many reasons, but I don't even think it's like anywhere close to the worst. I think Hollywood is a megaphone for social messaging always. It's been this way since D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, right? Oh, no, Project Hail Mary. Okay. Yes, I also had an issue with that. I think the Alien. I don't want to give away. I don't want to give any spoilers away for Project Hail Mary. It's still in theaters. I'm sure a lot of people would want to watch it. Yeah. I don't know. I think as it pertains to like this specific need to see certain people a certain way. So y'all know who Simu Liu is? Yes, yes, no, yes, huge Asian actor. So I remember having this conversation with Simu Liu on a Facebook thing, like we were commenting on it, and this is when Simu, before he had blown up completely, and we were talking about, actors taking bad roles versus, being barred from good roles and all that stuff. And anyways, Simu has kind of grown on me as at least an advocate for representation in cinema. Very often, at least growing up, you would see Asian characters represented as sidekicks, punching, the punchline of a joke, the nerdy friend, the science, this it's never the love interest. There's never anything added to it to humanize them. And I think that's kind of what happens when you have white people write black characters, Asian characters, South Asian characters, is they become sort of like tropes, or stereotypes. And it becomes a self-perpetuating philosophy to just have the same thing happen over and over again. And so I really like films that break from stereotypes, right? So for instance, Jurassic Park, the character of Ellie Sattler is a great one. It's a female scientist who has a great degree of agency. She is not constantly helplessly running around waiting for men to save her. I think that's positive. This is a positive change in representation. And I'm not saying you need to reconstruct your script to always show, people who are historically represented the wrong way and the right way. I'm not saying go out of your way to have like sexy Asian man number one as your main protagonist. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying, can we please stop regurgitating the exact same tropes over and over? Because it is problematic. Because if you're an Asian person, you always see yourself represented that way on screen, then that becomes problematic for your own self-identity. Because, most people, when they watch a movie, they're always looking for a character to identify with. Not always, but usually. And most people identify with the hero. But if the hero is always white and tall and green-eyed or blue-eyed, then someone who doesn't look like that is often scrambling to try and assimilate their own self-identity into a box they don't fit into. And that's why I think art house films can be important. It's not just representation for representation's sake. We're not just saying throw a black character and throw a bi character and throw a gay character into a film, but rather throw them into a context that actually makes sense and not for the sake of, but rather just because that's a real story. You know, I don't think autism has been very well portrayed in cinema. Hopefully one day I can change that. You know, I don't think a lot of people are very well portrayed in cinema. So that being said, the white savior trope is old. Raj from Big Bang Theory is a perfect example. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's true of white writers at all. It's true of bad writers. Any race can write anything, well, if they're competent enough. Ooh. Do you like Westerns? I can't say I've watched a lot of Westerns. It's something that's been somewhat absent from my life. But I do, you know, I've watched The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I've certainly watched more contemporary films that feel Western-ish. In fact, one of them is No Country for Old Men, which I love. Look, I'm not saying white people can't write black characters or any race of character, but you have to be a pretty good writer to do it. And it's never going to be the same as, I don't want to say never going to be the same. I remember I made a film, Penny, and this was in 2017. I made a film, Penny, and I don't know if y'all know the show Bria Mack, Got a Life. Do y'all know that show? Anyways, my friend is in that show. She's the lead of that show. Her name is Malika Henny, and Malika was actually in my. The show is on Crave. To anyone who has never seen it, it's a really funny show, really great. I'm so curious if y'all have seen it because it's actually like a good piece of Canadian television. So Malika was in Penny, and her mom came to the screening of Penny at Indie Film TO. And I got on stage and I, you know, explained the film and everybody watched the film and everything. And afterwards, she said, you know, she's like, I rarely ever see a black character represented as humanely and as realistically as you've done with this character. How did you do it? And I said, I based it on my friend, right? Like I had a friend named Penny growing up. I knew him and he was my friend. So if I hadn't had him in my life, how do I write that character? How do I write his mannerisms? How do I get inside his head? I can't be inside his head. So we have to learn. If you're a writer, the best thing they tell you to do is go to a coffee shop and just listen to people talk. But that's different because people talk differently in public than they do in private. So you can only ever understand the context of pregnant Arab woman at coffee shop, not pregnant Arab woman in her own apartment. That lived experience can sometimes be missing. And that's why representation is just as important on screen as it is in the writer's room. I think it's very important. So when you look at a film like, I don't know, Sinners, it's a great example of a writer-director who happens to be African-American, drawing on familial roots and ancestry and knowledge. And he's so smart. Ryan Coogler is so smart. And making a film that can only really be made by someone like him. I can never make Sinners. I don't have, like, beyond the technical mastery that I lack to do something like this, I don't have the experience to make it. I don't have the lived in experiences. So that's important, you know? I think Django and No Country for Old Men are perfect Western movies for people that are not into Western movies. I agree with you. That's great. And it's not really a Western, but shit, what is Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood? That's kind of like a Western if you think about it a little bit. It's not set in a desert, but you know, it's got Western elements to it. There's elements of Western and horror and so many genres in most films if you really, really think about it. Anyways, it seems like the West and all the games on the West Coast are about to wrap up right now. So just want to do a quick summary of what happened in the NBA today and we'll get out of here. Okay, so let's go. First of all, Houston stomps Memphis. Shout outs. Minnesota narrowly beats New Orleans. That is the end of New Orleans season. They are very, very bad. And they don't have a draft pick for it. Sucks. Phoenix beats OKC. I'm going to assume that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander sat this one out, right? Yes, he did. As expected. That's interesting. So did Devin Booker. Interestingly enough. That game was supposed to be a lot closer than that, but you know, shout out to Nikola Topic getting his second straight start for a team that is clearly taking a good 2 weeks off. Denver beats San Antonio. Nikola Jokic did play 18 minutes, but yes, I mean, that's a surprising result as well. I guess people were just trying not to get injured, man. De'Aaron Fox goes out for 24. Philly beats Milwaukee, which secures Philly into the play-in, and Philly will take on Orlando with home court advantage. Miami beats Atlanta. Let's see, did Bam have 84 points in this game? Sure, he cooked up. He had 25. Nice. And shout out to Zachary Sachet getting 11 points after collecting some DMP CDs after his 21st or 22nd birthday. And then we have the Lakers stomp out the Utah Jazz. The LA Clippers beat the Golden State Warriors, and then the Portland Trailblazers, of course, beat the Sacramento Kings. Let's take a look at the final standings of the season as they are now updated. And we can see here that this is your lottery right here. Washington secures the worst record. Shout outs to them. They also have Anthony Davis and Trae Young coming in next year, and a lot of really good young players. Indiana, number 2, the team we just beat. Brooklyn Nets, number 3. Utah Jazz, number 4. And Sacramento Kings, number 5. That's the bottom of the standings. And I guess Utah and Sacramento is going to be a coin toss. It's worth noting Indiana does not keep that pick if it falls outside the top 4. And Utah, Brooklyn, Indiana, and the Wizards all have a top 4, have the same chance of getting that top number 1 pick. So personally, if I'm rooting for AJ DeBonsa to go somewhere, it's probably, I mean, from a Raptors perspective, you're obviously hoping he does not end up on the Indiana Pacers. But among these teams, he'll probably end up on the Indiana Pacers or the Utah Jazz, man. I'm telling you, like him on Indiana, GG, game over. That's going to be a hell of a monster to deal with over the next 5 years. And in terms of the best record in the league, no surprises here. The OKC Thunder. What is surprising is how close the San Antonio Spurs got to clipping them. But yeah, shocking. And this is with OKC basically tanking their last 2 games. So they easily could have gone for 66, but what's the point of going for 66? You know? Larry Legend saying Django is an anti-white movie. You think so? You think Quentin Tarantino made an anti-white movie? There seem to be a lot of female heroine movies out now. What are your thoughts? As long as it's justified, it's cool. I personally think we're going a little bit too far in the wrong direction. Having watched what is the movie just Thrash? I watched Thrash yesterday. Yo, can we please stop making white people so dumb in movies? Like, I know this sounds like a little bit like white privilege, but can we please stop? There was a scene in Thrash yesterday where the lead male is talking to a camera crew. And the camera crew, and he's telling the camera crew, and the camera crew says, "Why did you get into sharks?" This is easily the dumbest shit ever. Okay, nobody is this dumb. Actually, someone is this dumb, but can we please stop putting them on TV? So the white character says to the African character, "Oh, why did you get into sharks?" And he's like, "It was back in my village in Mozambique. We lived next to to this river, and I was, out fishing for something, and I saw the most feared animal that we ever saw and in the river." And he said, "Oh, the shark." And he's just like, "No, the hippopotamus." And he's like, "And just as this hippopotamus charged towards me, I saw suddenly it stopped and it couldn't move. And these 2 tiger sharks came and started to rip it apart. And I saw something that I had never seen in the hippopotamus's eyes before." He's like, "What?" It's like, "Fear. I saw fear." He's like, and so the white character asks the African character, "So did you go back to your hut and get a spear?" And he said, "No, I drove back to my apartment, called the police, and ordered a pizza. I lived in Mozambique, not the Jungle Book." I have to say, really, really funny line, but also, are people really like, I feel we've taken it too far. We've now made white people a little too stupid, especially white men. Why are white men always so stupid in these movies? Like all these Oscar movies, they're just almost like they're trying to like make up for something. Like, come on, man. Come on. We can see the Fortune 500. Like, we know all white men are not stupid. So like We need to stop like constantly harping on this. It's lazy is really what it is. It's the reverse of making, every Asian guy the super nerd. Like you're just going into a completely weird stereotype zone. And I just don't think it's necessary. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. We know the truth. Some people are ignorant, some people are not. Ignorance extends on both sides. I'm just tired of all the ignorant characters always being white guys. Personally, it's hurting my feelings. Please stop. Okay. It's not stupidity, it's white ignorance. This is fueling replacement theory narratives. Ah, yes. You definitely need to do Scotty biopic when he retires. That would be awesome. Sure. So the thing is, like, I don't necessarily think it's okay to be like against anything, and I don't think then that in order to correct the record that all the atrocities you've held up against one group of people, that you need to now then subject another group to those atrocities. An eye for an eye makes the world blind, right? So again, I could do without these super super passive, super dumb white characters in every single movie that I watch. That would be great, right? But I could also do without the super white savior trope. Like, do white people just exist in the background in any movie? Can they just be like the friend without being fat or Jewish or quirky or having glasses or an afro? Like, again, like, character actors exist. I get it, right? I do get it. Character actors exist. Jonah Hill, that type of character. I don't know. I just, yeah, I wish for better cinema. That's what I'm hoping for. I wish for better cinema. And if you want to watch better cinema, you should come check out Amo at Pendance in 3 days at the Carlton Cinema at 6:15 on April 15th, Cinema 7. It's going to be cool. It's going to be really great. I can't wait. All right. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Thank you so very much for the support all year long. I can't wait for the playoffs. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. And honestly, to all the 2021 draft people out there, all the people who are like Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, guess what? Your warpath is Scotty Barnes versus Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes versus Cade Cunningham, and then eventually, probably, presumably, Scotty Barnes either against the Knicks or Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. So it's not easy. It's not easy. I really don't want Raptor fans walking around like being like, oh my God, we got Cleveland. We're safe. Not safe. It's hard. It's a hard series. You're going to have to fight really, really hard to make to make this count. But I do think the Raptors have a chance. And good luck to Emmanuel Quickley. Hopefully he gets healthy soon. Saturday, 1 p.m., game 1. Oh, for real? Schedule out? I personally am very, very thankful of this because on Sunday, I got to go see Mo Gilligan, one of my favorite comedians. And I'm very excited that I don't have to miss that for the Raptors because I was willing to miss that. And that dude is one of my favorite comedians on earth. And we already have tickets. And I told my girlfriend, I'm like, if it's the same day, I can't go. So that's on Sunday. This is on Saturday. I'm very, very relieved. I have no idea. Where did you get the tough 3600? Is that a prediction or is that accurate? What if Atlanta upsets the Knicks? They won't. Boo to the 1 p.m. start time. I'm not that mad at it. That's okay. I mean, it's Toronto versus Cleveland, dude. That's 1 a.m. for me. You know what? Unfortunately, Daryl, they were not thinking about Taiwan when they put this list up. But they were thinking about Turkey. So, shout outs to Europe. They're gonna actually be able to watch this. And shout outs to do you realize how many people have supported Darko Rajakovic up until this point? Can you imagine how many people going into like imagine how many people he's met throughout the way who've given him a tip or given him, a little bit of extra money or gotten him a job. Like nobody makes it to the level that Darko has. Now his home city gets to watch him. That's awesome. I love it. Oh, perfect. Yes. Same time zone though, right? Will you be covering the tempo, Rob? I think it depends, man. I will do my best though. I will see. I will see if we have the time to do it. I don't think it's like going to be a day-to-day game thing, but it will probably be a weekly thing. Like we could do a once a week episode on what the tempo did that off season or whatever. There's a lot of Raptor stuff and a lot of NBA stuff to cover while the tempo season happens, right? Like there's the draft, there's the pre-draft process, there's the whole draft. Like again, if I want to get super, super detail oriented, the Raptors are going to be picking 19th to 20th, which means we pretty much have to cover 15 to 20 prospects in deep, deep, deep profile. Is that more valuable to you, or is the Toronto tempo more valuable to you? I don't know. But that being said, we will keep them always like in our minds. We'll do a bit of a draft reaction tomorrow. I think the Toronto tempo draft is tomorrow. They'll be picking 6th. We'll do a reaction to that. We'll make a video. But again, this is a Raptors channel with a lot of NBA fans. When I've made WNBA content in the past, it hasn't gone over very well. If that would change, I'll be happy to do it. But from an economic standpoint, it's very, very difficult for me to devote an hour of my life to make a video where 700, 800 people are going to watch it. It actually tanks down the value of the channel completely when you have videos that YouTube does not associate with your channel, or it pushes it out and your subscribers reject it en masse. It actually does hurt your channel's ability to push out videos. So, you know, if you oversaturate, like if right now I just start doing Spurs coverage on here, I would love to do Spurs coverage on here, but I can't, because most Raptor fans who are subscribed to us will reject the Spurs feed, and then it'll just all become muddled. So unfortunately, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. The AV1611 said, who cares about the WNBA draft? This guy cares about the WNBA draft. And I definitely do care about the WNBA draft. I don't want anyone out there thinking that me, you know, not being fully committal about covering the WNBA on this channel has anything to do with my enjoyment of watching WNBA, because I do thoroughly enjoy watching women's basketball, and I do really, really like a lot of the players that that are coming into WNBA this year and next year and the year after that. Yeah. There we go. We got Daryl, we got me. Now you got everyone mad at you. Okay, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.